heritage, not just of Mysore, but also Mysore and Jodhpur, and what we did together. So we run a foundation called Mysore Lancers Foundation. On behalf of Mysore Lancers Foundation, we would like to felicitate a great patriot. I think, very few institutions give us an opportunity to come here and not just celebrate Operation Sindoor, but celebrate the great history and heritage of both Mysore city and Jodhpur. So I'd like to bring. Also, we have our Vice Chairman, Vineet Vatsji, and last year we did one of the only, I would say, very unique program called Bharatiya Knowledge System. If you see the curriculum in IITs or UGC or AICT, they talk about Indian knowledge system. So we took a decision to, call that program, 2-day program called Bharatiya Knowledge System. And Professor Avinash Kumar Agarwal ji was part of the panel discussion. So on behalf of VIPS, which is based in Delhi, me and Professor Deshmukh ji, both are advisors and professors there, we would like to also felicitate Avinash Kumar Agarwal. Many thanks. Book, I can say, which covers the story of both Jodhpur and Mysore.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, before we proceed any further, I request the dignitaries to kindly take a seat in the audience as we commence with the next set of talks. It is an honor of mine to introduce our keynote speaker for this session, Lieutenant General Ajay Kumar Singh, PVSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM retired. One of India's most distinguished military leaders, whose exemplary service to the nation spans 4 decades. An alumnus of the prestigious National Defence Academy and Indian Military Academy, he was commissioned into the legendary 711 Gurkha Rifles, a regiment known for its valor and discipline. Throughout his career, General Singh held a series of critical command appointments that tested his strategic acumen and leadership under pressure. He commanded a battalion along the volatile line of control, a brigade in the challenging terrain of the Run sector, a counter-insurgency force in the sensitive region of Jammu and Kashmir, and ultimately the formidable Trishakti Corps. His leadership culminated in his appointment as the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Indian Army's Southern Command, one of its most vital operational commands, a position he held until his superannuation. His service has been recognized with an exceptional array of gallantry and distinguished service medals, including the Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Yuddha Seva Medal, Sena Medal, and Vishisht Seva Medal, a testament to his courage, dedication, and strategic brilliance. Even in retirement, his expertise remains a national asset. He currently serves as a member of the National Security Advisory Board, which operates under the National Security Council Secretariat, reporting directly to the Prime Minister's office. In this capacity, he continues to shape India's defense and security policies, bringing his vast operational experience to the highest echelons of strategic planning. It is my honor to welcome General Singh. I request you, sir, to deliver your keynote address. Due to some unavoidable technical glitch at the other end, we'll wait for a few minutes so that General Singh can join. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I want to thank you, I think, for all the good words that you have said. Thanks a ton. It's wonderful to be here. I'm speaking to IIT Jodhpur, Professor Avinash, Director IIT Jodhpur, Professor Uday Virze, and also Sri Ravi Iyer, and all the faculty that is present today and the students. I think it's a matter of great honor for me to be. First of all, I think there was a little bit of a technical glitch. I think that itself is a great pointer that I think you have to just be consistent, be with the time, and everything happens out and everything works out nicely at the end. So I've been asked to talk on a very important subject in today's geopolitical situation, that's national security and Atmanirbharta. I think if you look at the happenings in last about 2 to 3 years, these two issues become most important. You are aware as to how today, in this time, every nation is only looking inwards. And the supply chain management and the supply chain surety becomes extremely important and relevant at this point of a time. When we talk of Atmanirbharta, I would like to connect it to one very important aspect of spirituality, and that is, self-knowledge or Atmagyan. You cannot have Atmanirbharta without this Atmagyan and without this self-knowledge. In Rigved, there is a beautiful shlok which says, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. What it talks of is that you are complete, and it absolutely resonates with our Brahmvakyas, Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi, which primarily implies that each of us as an entity is complete. We don't need anybody to complete. If a completeness merges with completeness, what comes out is completeness. And if a completeness has to be removed from completeness, what actually remains is also completeness. So Purnata is absolute essential, and it is important from the religious, from the spiritual domain. When we move to the material domain and to the geopolitics, what is of essence is to be Purn, is to be complete in oneself. I think in this geopolitical situation today, it's absolutely important for us to be self, and because self-reliant is what would actually lead to a holistic and complete national security. Today, national security doesn't mean the security on the borders. I think it has large number of variables. And if I talk of some of the variables, energy security is important, water security is again extremely important, financial security. So these are all social security, these are all aspects of security. So it has to be taken up in a very holistic sense. And you have seen, because since this entire event is being organized in the aftermath of Sindoor, so I would just say a few words about Sindoor. Pakistan has been doing what it has been doing for a very long time. It is using the terrorism. The state here is using the terrorism, and it is sponsoring the terrorism. I think this is something which is very important today. We have to call a spade a spade. Somehow today the world seems to have moved away from this aspect of terrorism. But if you look at what's happening in Israel and Hamas, in fact, just 2 days back I was fortunate to interact and listen to the Israeli foreign minister, and he made this speech extremely important, that both India and Israel are actually looking at terrorism, and it is something which is affecting us very deeply and very intimately right from our inception, not from now. So I think we have a lot in common, and I think as two nations we need to sort of bring it out to the world that this terrorism as a scourge has to be taken care of, has to be taken note of, and the world has to come together to sort of take concerted, holistic actions against removing the scourge of terrorism. Why I am talking about this? Because Op Sindoor emanated from that ghastly incident in Pahalgam. And you are aware that in just a matter of 88 hours, we got Pakistan on its knees, and the DGMO Pakistan was forced to give a talk to and call our DGMO, that is his counterpart, and ask for a ceasefire. I'm not going into the semantics and the details of Sindoor, but it is sufficient to tell you and bring to the notice of this gathering that what stood out in Sindoor is the self-reliance of India. BrahMos, which was visualized as a joint venture and is produced by India in large quantity, turned out to be a game changer. We are all aware, if I take you back to the past conflicts, there have been instances where even the GPS signals have been denied to us. And if you look at what's happening in Israel-Hamas conflict, and if you also look at what's happening in the USSR, in the Russia and the Ukraine conflict, the conflicts tend to sort of pan out for a very long period. And if the conflicts pan out for a very long period, then as a country, we have to have the capacity and the capability to not only produce the war-waging potential indigenously, but also make sure that our supply lines and supply chain is absolutely assured and is absolutely clear to sustain our war effort. So that is actually what the situation today prevails. Now, as a Southern Army commander, when I was based in Pune, and incidentally, as I talk to you, I am again talking to you from Pune. So I realized that the entire Indian peninsula, I think, houses the heavy industry. And at that time, we started a Southern Star Army Industry Academia interface. I think it's very important for us today. If we have to realize our potential and what our leaders today have given it on us, the vision statement that India has to be a Viksit and Sashakt Bharat by 2047, then it is extremely important. Self-reliance, Atmanirbharta becomes a very important constituent of that Viksit Bharat. We cannot become a power of significance, we cannot become a Viksit Bharat unless and until we are absolutely self-reliant. And that's why Atmanirbharta again becomes extremely important. Now, when we talk of the constituents of Atmanirbharta, today we know that it's like a globalized word. It is the supply chain. If you see today, are they are sort of distributed, and technically today, for any country to say that everything is produced indigenously becomes extremely difficult and challenging. But what is more important today is basically to look at the critical technologies. I think it is important for us in India to make sure that the critical technologies are there. So we have to identify, and that's where it becomes extremely important for our IIT like Jodhpur to identify that what are the critical technologies that we lack today, not only in the military domain. As I told you earlier, that national security has multifarious dimensions. So it is in all domains, all the other domains also. We must identify and we must make sure it's not going to become or not going to happen overnight, but we have to make a beginning. And the success stories are there in front of us. I think one of the most outstanding success stories that we have is of ISRO. How the cryogenic technology was denied to ISRO and how ISRO rose up to the challenge. Today, India again finds itself nearly at the same spot where those technologies would not come to us easily, and we have to make sure that these are developed indigenously. There has to be a public-private partnership. There has to be a clarity on what is the requirement, what is the capacity and capability today, and how to reach the desired capability and capacity. And I think for that, the Indian Armed Forces have taken Herculean steps in last about 3 to 4 years. There was a time when it was very difficult for the Indian industry to ascertain the requirement of the armed forces. But today, most of our problem statements are there in the open. So today, the industry at large has a very clear-cut idea about the requirement of the armed forces. So if that is so, I think the industry has to really come together and make sure that those requirements are met. Some of them could be met quite quickly. I do understand that some of them will take a little more time. So, but when I look at the industry per se, and I have visited most of the industries in the peninsular India, and wherever I have gone, I have realized one thing, that there is immense dynamism and there is immense strength in the Indian industry. I have just been to Aurangabad, where I was felicitating the Padma awardees, and in the evening, in the officers' mess over a social event, I met the top industrialist of Aurangabad, and I was very happy to see the capability and the capacity of the industry there in a tier 2 city like Aurangabad. I've been to Coimbatore and I realized that Coimbatore possibly at one time was the initiator of modern engineering in India, let alone Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad as the major hubs. So suffice it to say that the Indian industry today has the dynamism, has the capability to make sure that the security interests of the country are met. If you look at the government initiatives in the recent past, there has been an immense focus gathered the right momentum to make sure that our march from here on, with the capacity of the Indian industry and the policy and procedures that are being taken out and that are being formulated and have been formulated by the government of India, I think it soon would be a reality where we would be Atmanirbhar and we would be able to meet most of our requirement. In the last, I would just like to mention that I am an eternal optimist. And today, when we have seen in the world how the nations are only looking at their own national interests, I think it is time for us to actually get back to our ancient strategic culture, to draw heavily from there. And our ancient strategic culture has always been predicated on our most important motto, and that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So when India progresses, it is not just that India progresses, I think the world will progress. India would not progress at the cost of other countries. And we have seen it, we have shown it even during the COVID time, how in a very quick time, we were able to research, manufacture the COVID vaccine and scale up that manufacturing to a level where we were able to take care of our 1.4 billion people and take care of the requirement of other countries that needed our assistance. I would not be off the mark in stating that today the dominant Western culture seems to be failing, and it is all evident from the conflicts that are all around us. If it is failing, then there is a requirement of a culture to replace it. India today stands at a threshold where it can push and it can give an alternative to the world at large, our ancient cultural values, ethos and principles. It's very important for us today to delve into our past, draw the strength from there, draw the strength from our values and principles, imbibe the modern principles, and make sure that India becomes a Viksit and Shashakt Bharat by 2047. Thank you very much. I have enjoyed interacting with you. If there is a question, then I will be happy to answer.
Professor Uday Birje, who is a seasoned technology leader, entrepreneur, and academic with over 3 decades of experience in IT, telecom, and networking. A graduate of Harvard Business School's Executive Education Program, he began his career with HCL Hewlett-Packard and later played a pivotal role in launching Digital Equipment Corporation's networking division in India. As Managing Director of Cabletron Systems and co-founder of ThinkStreet Technologies, he has driven innovation and market strategies for global startups and enterprises. He currently serves as Professor of Practice at Vivekanand Institute of Professional Studies and as President of the Mysore Lancers Heritage Foundation, where he actively preserves and promotes India's military history. A dedicated mentor, he supports startup ecosystems through initiatives like Niti Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission and Stanford University's Seed Spark program. His work in deep tech, including AI, IoT, and quantum technologies, continues to influence industry-academia collaboration. We're honored to have you here with us, sir. I invite Professor Birje to deliver his talk on Innovation Ecosystem Driving Viksit Bharat.
Happy morning and Jai Hind, friends. Firstly, I would like to thank Professor Avinash Kumar Agarwal ji. I think he has been we visit institutions across the country, and I live just about a few minutes away from one of the top institutions in the country. I've never seen a better patriot, nationalist, director of an institution of national importance than Professor Avinash Kumar Agarwal. And I don't know how many of you were there. Last year, me and Ravi Ayerji visited and gave you a flavor of what we do. But I will possibly, spend a few minutes on something that I covered last year also, but with new, fresh updates. Also, I think in many ways, Lieutenant General A.K. Singh, he's, I wouldn't say he's retired, he's also a member of the National Security Advisor Board. So whenever I need motivation in some of the works that we do, I listen to his videos. And he's such a great speaker, and I think you must host him, sir, sometime next year. I think he's a fantastic speaker. And he's so knowledgeable, and also, I don't know how many of you know about the structure or the organization of the Indian Army. He just retired roughly a year back, and I can say I'm biased because I come from his region that he controls, that is, he used to control, called Southern Command. And Southern Command controls, or rather consists of 40% of the Indian Army. And part of the Konark Corps based in Jodhpur also was under his command. He's a fantastic speaker, and I have a couple of videos. Maybe later in the break or sometime I can play a couple of short videos. Also today, I think you must be suddenly shocked. In this military warfare, what am I doing with the tiger picture? And of course, I'm proud of that fact that this is my picture, and most latest, not even 3 weeks away, some time back I took. And why I took this is, by the way, I think Katyani introduced me as a professor of practice and also something to do with history and heritage. In fact, I'm neither of them. I'm not a professor, I'm not a historian. Because I come from an industry and my only, I would say, qualification is I used to be, I started as a leader of one of the top American companies at an early age of 34. So from there I have been mostly always in the industry, but I think the divine, the God, is making me do the job of two things. That is a professor's job, that is of a teacher, as well as a historian. So that is exactly what I want to know. So I have no qualification as the great professors and the teachers here. But UGC has this, professor of practice. So I am humbled, to be working as a professor of practice in VIPS in Delhi. So why is this? What is this tiger doing here in this picture? So, in my almost about 40 years of career, I have visited almost about 40 to 50 countries, 40 plus countries, and most of them I would say developed countries, and most of them in my, if you know the corporate structure, the quarterly, what they used to call QBRs and quarterly business reviews, and each time it used to be in some country. And in my 30 plus years working for MNC corporations like Digital Equipment Corporation, HP, Cabletron Systems, Alcatel-Lucent, most of my bosses used to be bosses, and of course I would say my peers used to be foreigners, either a French or a British or a American. And every time I used to be like a, they used to just prod me and say, hey, when is India, the sleeping tiger, going to wake up? Okay. So every time I used to be probed saying, hey, when are you waking up the sleeping tiger in India? I think there is absolutely, I have no doubt. I think General A.K. Singh and maybe in the future a couple of other speakers also going to talk. India's, I think, tiger zinda hai. I think that is something, and I'm not saying this because of this picture or because I'm a wildlife photographer or whatever. In the last 6 months, I've read some anti-India media articles who have completely turned around and said the India's tiger has finally found its match in the dragon and the eagle. Okay, I think that is the position India is getting. I think the tiger has finally woken up, and I think it's for us to feed it and of course, go after its prey. So, okay, let me start with a quiz also. All of us, many of us, I think the youngsters, including my daughters, they remember Shah Rukh Khan's birthday, Salman Khan's birthday, and all the fancy people who are most popular on social media like Instagram. Any idea whose birthday was yesterday? C.V. Raman. I think we should give you a small, I think fantastic. Among all the people, C.V. Raman. I think just give him a big hand. And I think a disciple of C.V. Raman is here. He will be talking about it. Physics, I think, it's a missile or a rocket or everything revolves around physics. C.V. Raman's birthday. And why is it? I mean, I am a mentor for Swami Vivekananda, or rather the Ramakrishna Ashram. I think Bangalore has one of the biggest Ramakrishna Ashram. Just about, they conduct summer camps regularly, summer and of course the mid-year camps for all school children across Bangalore, and some of the most elite, if I may call, the convent kind of schools. And I was there in the last summer camp in, I think, May or June, I think, around that time, which is during the break. And I asked some of the students, I asked in a session like this, name 3 scientists you know. And you know whose name came first? Albert Einstein. Somebody said Thomas Alva Edison, and another foreigner. And all from excellent schools, not from some of these second tier or third tier schools. I was shocked. I just said, just down the road, we have a C.V. Raman street. And about 7-8 kilometers away from where that ashram, Ramakrishna Ashram is, there is a Raman Research Institute. So why is it that our Indian children, our students, either they have been brainwashed or we are not told that the first recall should be, our own scientists? Nothing wrong. I mean, Thomas Alva Edison and Albert Einstein, so many great foreign scientists. They are all great. I mean, no doubt about it. But don't we think that, the first recall should be our own people? Abdul Kalam, Raja Ramanna, so many people. I think, this is something which we need to bring that change. I think, you can worship Einstein or you can worship anybody else, but I think as Indians, as Bharatiyas, we need to get that in our children to talk about our own people. I think that is also one of the important things when we talk about, I think that's what A.K. Singh talked about. We need to bring this Bharatiya knowledge system into right at an early age of our children, okay? I think it's our duty. We have a couple of more people from the armed forces to talk about. I think let's all give them a big hand. It's not just about Operation Sindoor, though today's talk revolves around Operation Sindoor. But I always remind myself when I go to sleep every night, and I sometimes even talk about it, saying that we can sleep peacefully at night, especially a border city like this, is only because of these people. Freedom doesn't come free. Freedom comes because of all the hard work and all the sacrifices made by these people. And we owe it to them. And the stories of some of the speakers today, it's fabulous. The kind of battles they have fought, and also there is so much of battles that we will talk about a little bit about our past ancestors as well. And how many of you know about Operation Mahadev? I think after Operation Sindoor, there was another smaller operation called Operation Mahadev as well. Okay. Do you see the connection? I'm sure you know both the palaces. I told you the twin cities. And the top, of course, the Mysore palace, picture taken by me, and below I found a beautiful peacock at the Umaid Bhavan palace. So I think, there is so much of combined, I would say, inspiration from both these cities. In fact, I would like to, suggest that Jodhpur has a fantastic, IIT. And we don't have an IIT in Bangalore, we don't have an IIT in Mysore. Sir, I think please use your good officers to get us an IIT in Mysore. Okay? So I think we deserve that. Because for many reasons, Bangalore is getting overcrowded. Everybody, morning till evening, people are complaining about traffic and the mess, that infrastructure mess that we're going through. I think the next IIT should be in Mysore. How many of you agree? Huh? Fantastic. Let's all strive. Anybody ask your recommendation, please suggest. Okay, this is another historic picture, which is like a combination of, this is the real picture. I would say in some way, the Operation Sindoor of 1918, September 23rd, the equivalent, whatever you may call it. This is a picture from the victory march of the Battle of Haifa and Haifa city in Israel. And this is from you see at the bottom, September 23rd, Battle of Haifa, the real picture. And I'm proud to say my great-grandfather is somewhere in this picture. And many of the people, I think many of the descendants of Jodhpur are also can be seen in this picture. Obviously, we cannot identify. What is unique in this picture? Anybody can point out what is unique in this picture? What is unique? Obviously, you can see the great horses, the lancers, and of course the Indian turbans. What is it that you don't see here? And this is a street in Haifa, and which was the victory march. World War I. I'm giving you another hint. World War I. Do you see any white skins? Huh? No. So this battle, I think I cannot explain it. It's going to take maybe hours or whatever. So this battle was fought only by 2 regiments. that is the Mysore Lancers and the Jodhpur Lancers. And we created history. And you know why, what is the unique thing? There is not a single British soldier that can be seen in this. Because the British, when they were, when the commanders were asked to go and liberate Haifa on this day, September 23rd, 1918, the British soldiers said, we are not fighting this battle. This is one of the toughest battles, we are not fighting it. They gave up. They said, we are going back. You know what the Mysore Lancers and the Jodhpur Lancers said? They said, how can we go back and show our faces to the Maharajas? We are not going back. They fought the battle and historic victory. And this is, yes, I think this is something which IIT Jodhpur, all people who have connection with Jodhpur, whether even if you studied here and you're going back, think about this. And this is not my words. Most recently, last week, 1 week back, or rather 1 month back, on Haifa Day, the mayor of Haifa said that we are changing our history books. It was the Indians who liberated Haifa, not the British. Okay? This is a historic, I would say, change that we brought in because of whatever we have been doing since 2014. Okay? So this is, I think, remember this always. Okay, the Battle of Haifa also, in fact, we always used to say that Battle of Haifa resulted in, the formation of Israel, no doubt about it. But General A.K. Singh, last month he was in Bangalore during Haifa Day celebration, he corrected us. He said it is not just Israel. 4 countries came into existence because of this battle. Because the World War ended in October 1918, and 4 countries later, of course, they all resulted in 4 countries, that is Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and of course India. You go back to the history, some of the texts or some of the history books or whatever, India's independence was promised if we participated in this war. Okay, I don't want to go into the details. Go and do the research on this. India's, I would say, in some way, the battle or rather the struggle for independence started with this Haifa battle. And the Britishers promised us self-rule if they win the World War I. They won the World War I, but they backtracked. Okay, and here, how important this is, I think you are aware. In fact, I checked recently also with some of my friends in the Foreign Office, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC, is in progress. Though there has been some delays because of the Hamas and the Gaza war going on, but this corridor goes through a strategic port called as the Haifa port, which is today owned and run by an Indian. Do you know that? Any guess? Adani. Adani ports control Haifa port. Okay. Okay, I think I may have crossed my time, but I'll just quickly. I mentioned C.V. Raman. C.V. Raman is a legend, the first Indian to get a Nobel Prize. First Indian and first Asian to get a Nobel Prize in physics. And I just live about 2 kilometers away from Indian Institute of Science and another 2 kilometers away from Raman Research Institute. I think these are the great people that we must talk about. And I always make it a point to mention that the Mysore Maharaja was not the great of only the Mysore region. He was the true architect of modern India. Okay, modern India, I mean, there are so many examples, but one example I want to, because we are in a great institution here. How many of you know that the first chancellor of BHU, which is now called IIT BHU, was Nalvadi Krishnarajendra Vadiyar. Okay, the first, this is a picture from the IIT BHU after he gave the first convocation talk in Banaras University. So his contribution goes across the country. Even if you go to Delhi and you see the Teen Murti statue, the contribution was from Mysore Maharaja and Jodhpur Maharaja. So we were, I think, take pride in the fact that our Indians created legendary institutions like the IISc, Raman Research, BHU, and so many top institutions. We were not just the slaves of the British. This is something we need to tell our children, look up. We were not just the slaves. We created legendary institutions, and these were the legends. In this picture, I can give a lecture for 1 hour, but I don't have the time. Just this picture alone. I'm very proud. I always advertise about my city. Okay, anybody can contest. Of course, the bottom you will possibly put as the. I just saw we ranked 3rd in the worst infrastructure, and all that degradation has happened in the last 3 to 4 years because of the tremendous growth that Bangalore has, and we continue to lead in everything. And so much of great interest. So why it is relevant is, I think all of us, many of us who visit Bangalore or who are from Bangalore, we bring the ecosystem here to IIT Jodhpur or Jodhpur itself. Okay, and we offer that bridge between, as I always mention, Bangalore, Mysore, and of course Jodhpur. Okay. India's decade. There is, I did a podcast with one young AI startup just before coming here, 2 days before coming here. And I was telling him that we are in a great decade, and we are doing great things. India is doing great things on the digital side. Everybody, it's touching every citizen of the country. But he corrected me, sir, we are not just we are not just in the decade, we are in the intelligent decade. This is something which new I heard, which means that AI is touching every citizen of the country, from the poorest of farmer to Mukesh Ambani or the Prime Minister. AI is touching, which is possibly we can call ourselves as proud to be in the intelligent decade. Okay, for me, I think I no longer, I used to design networks. I designed many networks which are still operational. So I used to be as technical as you, but no longer, because I moved into leadership roles. So I'm mostly giving gyan in forums like this, but and also of course building ecosystems and trying to mentor some startups. But I think for me, AI is not just about artificial intelligence. AI is about aspirational India, right from an auto rickshaw driver to top entrepreneur in the country. He is always thinking about great things that he wants to do for himself, for his family, and for his country. This is what AI, the true AI is. In fact, Prime Minister Modi has always been using extensively that AI stands for aspirational India. This is the new India that you are going to experience, or rather already experiencing. Okay? Okay, I think the transformation, I've seen it myself. In Bangalore, when I started, I came back from Bombay. I used to work in Bombay for 6 years. We just had hardly 400 or 300 startups. Today, the countrywide, we are talking about 150,000 startups. And you know what is going to, by 2030, which is about 5 years from now, any guess how many startups we are going to have? Any guess? And I was reading some reports, and I think at going by some of, even Prime Minister Modi announced just I think 3-4 days back, one big initiative for research and innovation. We are going to have 1 million, that is 10 lakh startups by 2030, in just 5 years from now. So, how many of you, I think maybe 50% of these young students, you will all be entrepreneurs. And possible, maybe 10% of you will be from unicorns from here. That is, I also am reminded that, all of us have political, different political, personal ideologies. But what I can proudly tell you is, irrespective of what is going to happen in the future, not that anything is going to happen, anything major turbulence happening, but this is an irreversible, I think, trend that is happening. Whether it's the startups or the growth or the GDP growth or whatever that is going on in the country, there could be small hiccups, but everything is irreversible. Remember that. Okay? So I think that this is the last part of I have 2-3 slides, but I just want to focus on 5 things. When I talk about the 5 I's, I think this is what Operation Sindoor, or whatever we do about as youngsters, whether you are an IIT or a private institution, or maybe even a doctor, or in an Ayurveda. Yesterday we were with the VC of the Ayurveda, beautiful, just opposite to the IIT Jodhpur campus. And everybody, I think this, 5 pillars of, I would say, for India that will that will lead us to Viksit Bharat. Institutions, great institutions. IIT Jodhpur is a fantastic example, and the Ayurveda institution that we saw last night. And then, of course, we have so many, IISc, Raman Research Institute, IIT BHU, whatever. Innovation. I think we need to think, sleep, breathe innovation if we have to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat and Viksit Bharat. Inspiration. I gave you, you can, I think today is a day of so much of inspiration. We started with Professor Avinash Kumar Agarwal's, I think, commitment to innovation and entrepreneurship and Atmanirbharta, and then, of course, the entire day is going to revolve around inspiration from some great leaders. We have fantastic line of speakers. And indigenization. This is all. I think we no longer we want to beg to any country, give us cryo engine or give us some drones or whatever, or give us some motors for the drones or whatever it is. I think indigenization is going to be the key. And as AK General Singh said, indigenization in every aspect of national security. Not just in defense, but in every aspect. And I already talked about the intelligent decade. So this is the 5 eyes for India, in my view. And the 3 platforms that will take India to Viksit Bharat, I think this is another, I would say 3 platforms or the 3 pillars that will touch every citizen of the country. I don't need to, I think you people are all intelligent, or you must be already doing some work in these 3 pillars. Quantum, we have Professor P.C. Deshmukh, then India AI mission, and of course the semiconductor mission. Okay. And in the afternoon we have a workshop. I'm going to talk about how we are using this historic achievements in the Haifa battle with a great friend like Israel. In fact, General Singh also talked about how we work closely with Israel. I'm going to touch upon our partnership, which is initiated from the Mysore Lancers Foundation. And being in Jodhpur, and I coming from Mysore, Bengaluru, I think we are carrying this, I think the great, platform of collaboration with Israel across the country. So I'm not going to go into detail, but these are some of the areas that we're working with Israel, and we are working at the top level. Circular economy, cyber security, leveraging. And in fact, I would suggest that at some point, maybe in 2026, we'll get some experts from Israel, whom we are already discussing with in Bangalore and Delhi, and of course, right from some of them from outside in Israel, on how to build some of this. Especially cyber security. They are number 1 in cyber security. Most of the cyber security companies are all Israeli companies. Okay. Thank you very much, and really appreciate. I think I may have crossed a little bit, 5-10 minutes more, but thank you for the time, and thank you once again, IIT Jodhpur, for giving us this opportunity. And we will all be here till about 4 o'clock. Look forward to great interactions. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Birje, for that fascinating presentation. You took us through a journey of our historic legacy and the valor of the Lancers. So thank you for that. Now it's my honor to invite our next speaker, Shri Ravi Kumar Iyerji, who is a distinguished author, public policy expert, and cultural ambassador, whose work is deeply rooted in the principles of Indian civilization. A graduate in mechanical engineering and law, he has dedicated his career to fostering a deeper understanding of India's cultural and spiritual heritage, both domestically and internationally. As the founder of the Bharat Spiritual and Cultural Foundation, he has been instrumental in promoting India's timeless wisdom and knowledge systems. His literary contributions are significant, including authoring the Introduction to Hindu Culture series and translating seminal works like the Bhagavad Gita into German, demonstrating his commitment to making Indian philosophy accessible to a global audience. His expertise extends to governance and strategic advisory roles, where he applies civilizational insights to contemporary policy. Through his extensive writings, lectures, and initiatives, Shri Iyer advocates for governance models that integrates India's ancient ethos with modern needs. He is a compelling voice for a resurgent Bharat, inspiring a renaissance of Indian thought and contributing to the nation's aspirational journey by reconnecting its people with their profound cultural roots. I request Sri Ravi Kumar Ayerji to deliver his talk on Indian diaspora contribution to New India.
सबसे पहले यहाँ के महिलाओं को अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूँ. Your World Indian Women's Cricket Team has made the entire India proud. हमारी बेटियाँ, हमारे बहनें दुनिया में किसी से कम नहीं है, इससे पता चलता है. India is the largest democracy in the world. It is also the fastest growing democracy. India is the oldest civilization in the world, but India is the largest, youngest country of the world. The median age of India is less than 30. That of America and China is 40. Of Europe and Japan is 45 plus. So we are the youngest country in the world. Thank you. मेरे लिए कुछ लाने वाला था, वो भूल गया. या इसी में है क्या? हाँ. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, he was professor of Oxford University in the year 1936. उस समय भारत आज़ाद नहीं था, तो ऐरे गहरे विद्यार्थी भी भारत को गाली देते थे. तो उन्होंने राधाकृष्णन से कहा, लुक हियर, वी आर वाइट इन कलर, अफ्रीकन्स आर ब्लैक, यू इंडियंस आर ब्राउन इन कलर, वी आर सुपीरियर, यू आर इन्फीरियर. तब इन्होंने, अब देयर मेजॉरिटी उनके यूनिवर्सिटी में कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने बताया एट दी स्टार्ट ऑफ दिस यूनिवर्स भगवान परोठा बना रहे थे, ब्रेड बना रहे थे. कैसे बनाना, पहली बार कर रहे हैं ना, गलती तो होती है. तो एकदम काला हो गया क्योंकि ज़्यादा हीट हो गया था, तो उन्होंने फेंका, अफ्रीका में गिरा. फिर उन्होंने गर्मी करना कम किया, तो जब पॉपअप करके निकला उसमें से, तो वो कच्चा था, तो कच्चा माल फेंका, यूरोप में सफ़ेद रह गया क्योंकि आटा था उसमें. अब उन्होंने न ज़्यादा करना न कम करना, बीच में रखा. जब पॉपअप हुआ, गोल्डन कलर में आया, फेंका, भारत में आ गया. अब लोगों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि ये आदमी ने हमारे ही उदाहरण को लेकर हमको गिराया है, इसको कुछ सबक सिखाना चाहिए. थोड़े दिन के बाद फिर से वो आए, एक नया कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियरी, बोले कि सारे यूरोप में वी आर ऑल वाइट इन कलर, वी आर सुपीरियर. But look at India, somebody is black, somebody is white, somebody is brown. तो राधाकृष्णन ने बताया कि देखिए, एनिमल वर्ल्ड में हॉर्सेस जो होते हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो वाइट इन कलर, दे आर ऑल्सो ब्राउन इन कलर, दे आर ऑल्सो ब्लैक इन कलर. लेकिन गधा जो होता है केवल वाइट इन कलर. जैसे जैसे भारत का जीडीपी बढ़ता है, हम इंग्लैंड से आगे निकल गए, फ्रांस से आगे निकल गए, वे लोग आपको ताना मारेंगे, वे लोग आपके अडानी के पैर खींचेंगे. उस समय आपको राधाकृष्णन बनना पड़ेगा, उनको जो भाषा समझ में आते उसमें उत्तर देना पड़ेगा. इसलिए मैंने ये बताया. अब कुछ राजस्थान के बारे में 4-5 बातें बताता हूँ. जब हम लोग विदेश में जाते हैं और वापस आते हैं तो बोलते हैं, देखो लुक एट पेरिस कितना ब्यूटीफुल है, लुक एट लंदन कितना ब्यूटीफुल है. एक प्रश्न आप जरूर पूछिए कि डस दैट कंट्री आफ्टर 50 years विल बी ब्यूटीफुल. तो सब लोगों के पास कोई उत्तर नहीं है. इन 50 years यूरोप इज़ गोइंग टू बिकम यूरेबिया. तो तब मुझे आके बताओ क्या हो रहा है करके. लेकिन ये जितने भी अच्छे सिटी है, इनका बाप कौन है? वो राजस्थान है. अब किसको मालूम है ये राजस्थान उसका बाप है करके? कैन यू से इट लॉजिकली एंड हिस्टोरिकली? विच इज द ओल्डेस्ट सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड? क्या आंसर है? हाँ, वाराणसी. ओल्डेस्ट कंटिन्यूअस सिटी इज वाराणसी, बट विच इज द ओल्डेस्ट सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड मच बिफोर वाराणसी? The oldest city in the world is in Rajasthan. Okay. आज से 5 साल पहले मोहनजोदड़ो हड़प्पा था. उससे भी पहले राजस्थान का एक है कालीबंगान. इट इज़ द ओल्डेस्ट रिकॉर्डेड सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. यूनाइटेड नेशन में व्हाट इज ए सिटी के लिए डेफिनेशन होता है. जहाँ एक 1 फ्लोर का घर होगा तो उसको हैमलेट कहते हैं. यू शुड हैव ए स्ट्रक्चर्ड बिल्डिंग. फर्स्ट फ्लोर भी होना चाहिए, ग्राउंड फ्लोर प्लस फर्स्ट फ्लोर होगा तो ही सिटी. वहाँ वाटर वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट होना चाहिए सिटी के लिए, वाटर सप्लाई सिस्टम होना चाहिए. ऐसे बहुत सारे क्राइटेरिया है यूनाइटेड नेशन के. उसके आधार पर द फर्स्ट सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हरियाणा का राखीगढ़ी, राजस्थान का कालीबंगान और गुजरात का धोलावीरा. दीज आर द ओल्डेस्ट सिटीज़. तुम्हारा पेरिस और लंदन का भी बाप हमारे देश में है. और आने वाले दिनों में वी विल बी क्रिएटिंग फैंटास्टिक एयरपोर्ट्स इन द वर्ल्ड, फैंटास्टिक सिटीज़ ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. यू शुड हैव दैट प्राइड इन यू. आज भी दुनिया में सबसे अच्छे एयरपोर्ट्स में दिल्ली का नाम आता है, मुंबई का नाम आता है. आप जाकर देखिए क्या ब्यूटीफुल गोवा का एयरपोर्ट बनाया है. यू कैनॉट कंपेयर दिस विथ इवन यूरोपियन. उससे भी बहुत अच्छा बना है. हम बातें नेगेटिव बात करना छोड़ देना चाहिए. अब सेकेंड थिंग दैट राजस्थान हैज़ गिवन टू द वर्ल्ड. हम ये कहते हैं कि जब ज़ीरो दिया भारत ने तो दुनिया को गिनती आई, लेकिन ज़ीरो दिया किसने? हाँ, बताइए. किसी ने कुछ बताया था? गलती होने में कोई गलत नहीं है. नेवर माइंड, से लाउडली. फिर आर्यभट्ट. आर्यभट्ट was born in 475 CE. Around the same time, 100 years later, 599 में एक राजस्थान में एक का जन्म हुआ था, मैथमेटिशियन. His contribution is also on zero. उसने ये बताया कि a plus 0 is equal to a minus 0 is equal to a multiplied by 0 is 0. जब यूरोप के पास ज़ीरो ही नहीं था, वो क्या इनोवेशंस कर सकते थे? हमने ज़ीरो के प्रॉपर्टीज़ को भी मैथमेटिकली रखा था. उस आदमी का नाम है ब्रह्मगुप्त. यहाँ से कुछ किलोमीटर दूर भीनमल करके गांव है, वहाँ उसका जन्म हुआ था. भीनमल इज़ ऑल्सो फेमस फॉर माघ, कवि माघ. कवि माघ से भी 50 साल पहले ब्रह्मगुप्त का जन्म हुआ था. मैथमेटिक्स में आपने ax² + bx + c = 0 इक्वेशन सुना होगा. उसका सॉल्यूशन निकलता है, 2 सॉल्यूशन आएंगे क्योंकि वो 2 ऑर्डर इक्वेशन है. तो -b + -b √b² - 4ac/2a. ये जो इक्वेशन दिया किसने? वह भी ब्रह्मगुप्त ने दिया. उसका पुस्तक का नाम है ब्रह्म स्फुट सिद्धांत. जब ये पुस्तक का अरबी में अनुवाद हुआ, फिर थोड़े सदियों के बाद उसका लैटिन में अनुवाद हुआ, तब दुनिया को गिनती आई. आर्यभट्ट इज डेफिनेटली द फर्स्ट पर्सन हु गेव प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स, बट द फर्स्ट बुक टू बी ट्रांसलेटेड इनटू ए फॉरेन लैंग्वेज वाज ब्रह्मगुप्ता, क्योंकि ही वाज बॉर्न इन 600 अराउंड दैट पीरियड, एंड दैट इज व्हेन द ट्रांसलेशन स्टार्टेड. तो ये था तीसरा जो हमने दुनिया को दिया है. मैंने पूछा कि हाउ मेनी प्रेसिडेंट्स हैव ए राजस्थानी ब्लड इन देम. तो बोलते हैं कि वाइस प्रेसिडेंट तो थे शेखावत, लेकिन कोई भी प्रेसिडेंट, राष्ट्रपति तो यहाँ का नहीं था. तो आप सोचिए, विदेश का एक राष्ट्रपति भारत में आता है, दिल्ली में बातचीत होती है, उसके बाद वो अपने घर में, अपने गांव में राजस्थान में आया था. राजस्थान में जयपुर से 70 किलोमीटर दूर एक गांव है नायला. रात भर वहाँ रुका. उसकी बेटी वहाँ 1 महीने तक रही, होली खेलती थी. घाघरा चोली पहनकर रहती थी और बाद में अपने देश में गया। कोई उसका नाम बता सकते हो क्या? ए प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ ए कंट्री, ए पावरफुल कंट्री सेज दैट माय एंसेस्टर्स आर फ्रॉम राजस्थान। क्या नाम है उसका? और ये आपके आंखों के सामने हुआ है, रिसेंट ईयर्स में हुआ है, 21st सेंचुरी में हुआ है। आप लोग देख लीजिए तो आपको पता चल जाएगा। दिस इज द एज ऑफ इंटरनेट। प्रोफेसर कुछ भी बताता है तो सब लोग चेक करते हैं, ये प्रोफेसर सही बताता है या गलत बताता है। तो प्रोफेसर्स हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल बिफोर अटरिंग सम स्टेटमेंट्स। आप भी देख लीजिए मैं क्या बता रहा हूँ। और एक ऐसे एक नहीं, 3 देश के राष्ट्रपति राजस्थान ने दिया है, हमें मालूम नहीं, दैट इज़ आवर प्रॉब्लम। उनके बारे में हम नहीं बोलते हैं। फिर राजस्थान का एक घोड़ा विश्वव्यापी, विश्व में बहुत प्रसिद्ध है। कौन सा घोड़ा? हाँ, चेतक दुनिया के लोग नहीं जानते हैं। दुनिया के लोग जानते हैं ऐसा एक घोड़ा, चेतक के बाप का बाप था वो, उससे भी 200-300 साल पहले था, जिसने कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक को लात मार मार के ख़त्म किया। उस घोड़े का नाम बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं। कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक जो स्लेव डायनास्टी भारत में शुरू किया था, वो को मारने वाला अपने मेवाड़ का जो वो घोड़ा था, उसका नाम है शुभ्रक। मेवाड़ की महारानी थी कुर्मा देवी। पति के निधन के बाद बच्चा छोटा था इसलिए उसने सती नहीं किया, और बच्चे को लेकर उसने कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक को लड़ते हुए कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक को हराया। यह राजस्थान का इतिहास का गौरवपूर्ण इतिहास है। उसकी माँ पहले राजस्थान में जो युद्ध हुआ था उस समय मोहम्मद गोरी को भी हराया था, उसका नाम है नायकी देवी। अब गुजराती भाषा में नायकी देवी के ऊपर पिक्चर भी निकला है, उसको गवर्नमेंट का ग्रांट भी मिला है। ये हमारी अद्भुत देश की कहानी है, हमारे सिस्टम में नहीं बताया गया। पहले आप कह सकते थे हमें पिताजी ने नहीं बताया, टीचर ने नहीं बताया, लेकिन अब तुम्हारे पास इसमें गूगल है, इसके अंदर यूट्यूब है। आप दुनिया में सही प्रश्न पूछोगे तो सारे चीज़ों का उत्तर वो देता है। अभी हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हमें किसी ने नहीं बताया, आपको बताने वाला गूगल इसके अंदर है। अब ये मैंने बताया गूगल है, लोग कहते हैं कि ठीक है ये सब था इनोवेशन तो बाहर के लोगों ने किया है ना, हमारा क्या है इसमें? तो आप बोलेंगे मोबाइल का नहीं लिया, आप बोलेंगे मोबाइल तो सैमसंग बनाता है, मोबाइल तो एप्पल बनाता है, ये तो विदेशी कंपनी है, चाइना बनाता है, विदेशी कंपनी है, इसमें भारत है क्या? अब एप्पल ले लीजिए, सैमसंग ले लीजिए, ओप्पो ले लीजिए, रियलमी ले लीजिए, ये आपस में कॉम्पिटिट करने के कारण किसी का 20%, किसी मार्केट में 20% होगा, 30% होगा। 30% से ज़्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि इतने सारे लोग हैं, वहाँ एरिक्सन है, मोटरोला है, सब लोग हैं ना। लेकिन इन सब में एक पेंटियम चिप है, 100% या 97%। वो पेंटियम चिप बनाने वाला एक पंजाब का आदमी है, क्या नाम है उसका बताइए? इसके ये सब हार्डवेयर की बात कर रहा हूँ, सॉफ्टवेयर की नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ। इसके अंदर एक छोटा सा छेद है जिसको कहते हैं USB, यूनिवर्सल सीरियल बस। वो बनाने वाला गुजरात बड़ौदा का एक भारतीय है, ये नहीं बताया किसी ने, इंटरनेट में जाके देख लीजिए, उसका नाम है। फिर इसके अंदर आप वीडियो देखते हो, कभी कभी म्यूज़िक देखते हो, फिल्म देखते हो, क्रिकेट मैचेस देखते हो, उसके लिए वहाँ एक चिप होता है, उसको कहते हैं MP4, MP4। वो बनाने वाला भी एक इंडियन है, वो बेंगलुरु का है, अरुण नेत्रावली। कितने लोग जानते हैं? और फिर हम ईमेल चेक करते थे एक समय, सबसे पहला ईमेल कौन सा आया था? हॉटमेल। किसने बनाया? सबीर भाटिया। गिव हिम अ बिग हैंड। एक इंडियन ने। फिर हम कहते हैं कि 2G आया है, 3G आया है, 4G आया है, 5G आया है। 6G के पर भारत के पास कम से कम 200 पेटेंट है ऑलरेडी। तो आने वाले दिनों में इंडिया विल बी द कैपिटल ऑफ 6G। तो ये जो 6G में है, 2G 3G आया कैसे? जब तक आप ट्रांसमिशन कॉपर वायर में करते थे, एल्यूमिनियम वायर में करते थे, आप 1G के ऊपर जा ही नहीं सकते थे। लेकिन आज फाइबर ऑप्टिक्स है, एंड द फादर ऑफ फाइबर ऑप्टिक्स, उसका नाम है डॉक्टर, वो पंजाब के हैं, नरेंद्र सिंह कपानी। ये सारे चीज़ 100%। इनमें से किसी को भी नोबेल प्राइज़ इसलिए नहीं मिला कि हम लोग लॉबिंग करते नहीं हैं। ये ज़माने में लॉबिंग करना चाहिए। बाकी सारे कोर्सेस चालू रखिए, थोड़ा उसको कम कीजिए फंड्स, लॉबिंग के लिए एक नया कोर्स शुरू कीजिए। और हमारे सामने एक नेक्स्ट वक्ता आने वाला है। लॉबिंग में ऐसा एक व्यक्ति मैंने भारत में कहीं देखा नहीं है, दैट इज़ मिस्टर नरेंद्रन। जरा उनके लिए ताली बजाइए। जब भारत और अमेरिका का रिलेशनशिप खराब चल रहा था कोविड के समय, तब इन्होंने वहाँ के उपराष्ट्रपति कमला हैरिस से बात किया और उन्होंने बताया रवि कुमार, कमला हैरिस इज ऑन द लाइन, प्लीज़ टॉक टू हर। और हमने उसको कुछ बातें समझाई। वो सुनने के बाद वो इतने गदगद हो गई, पहले तो गुस्से में थी कि हु आर यू टू गिव मी एडवाइस, और बाद में इन्होंने जो बताया उसको लेने के बाद शी सेड आई वांट टू अप्रिशिएट। आपको ग्रीन कार्ड चाहिए, आपको अमेरिका का सिटीजनशिप चाहिए? तो इसने बोला कि हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हमें एक नया अच्छा वर्ल्ड क्रिएट करना है, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, कैन यू हेल्प अस? तो बोला कि वेर एवर यू कॉल मी आई विल रेडी टू कम एज ए स्पीकर, आई एम रेडी टू हेल्प यू। जब इन्होंने कोई भी चीज़ उनसे लिया नहीं तो उन्होंने बताया कि हमने यहाँ के 20 मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज को बताया है कि कोविड के लिए, भारत के लिए आप दवा दीजिए, और इनसे बताया कि प्लीज़ टेक इट। तो 1500 करोड़ रुपए का मेडिसिन उन्होंने अमेरिका से फ्री में लेके आए। दैट इज़ नरेंद्रन। इतने बड़े डिप्लोमेसी करने वाले। अमेरिका से बात करते हैं, रशिया से भी बात करते हैं। रशिया से जो मैसेंजर आता है पुतिन का लेटर लेकर, प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मिलता है, हमारे होम मिनिस्टर से मिलते हैं, बाकी लोगों से मिलते हैं, ट्रेड मिनिस्टर से मिलते हैं। मिलने के बाद नरेंद्रन वेर आर यू, और वो एक दिन भारत में रुककर इनसे मिलकर फिर वापस जाता है। ये सब 4 साल में ही वॉज एबल टू डू इट। ऑल ऑफ यू कैन बिकम इफ़ यू नो हाउ टू यूज़ दिस इंटेलिजेंटली। उनका एक पास एक ही एक वेपन है, वो है मोबाइल। मेरा ये कहना है कि आप सप्ताह में 6 दिन जो जो करना चाहते हैं अपने घर के लिए, अपने करियर के लिए, अपने फैमिली के लिए, जो करना है करो। सप्ताह में 7वें दिन एटलीस्ट 1 आवर कैन यू गिव फॉर भारत माता। कोई भी एक विषय ले लीजिए, उस विषय में आप रिसर्च कर सकते हो विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस। आपको यूट्यूब में जाना है, आपको गूगल में जाना है, क्वेश्चंस पूछना है, और वो आपको बताते जाएगा बताते जाएगा बताते जाएगा। 10 महीने के अंदर यू विल बिकम द मोस्ट इंटेलिजेंट इन दैट सब्जेक्ट। उसके बाद आपके पास में व्हाट्सअप है, दुनिया में जो टॉप लीडर समझता है उससे बात कर सकते हो, किसी से भी बात कर सकते हो। व्हाट्सअप इज़ यूनिवर्सल और इट डजंट कॉस्ट यू एनीथिंग। ऐसे उन्होंने बात किया है। वैसे ही दूसरा एक व्यक्ति बताता हूँ। मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में रहता हूँ। वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया का एक लड़का है दिनकर, उसने भी ये सब किया और उसने IEEE से बात किया। बताया कि आप जो कहते हैं कि रेडियो वॉज इन्वेंटेड बाय मार्कोनी, आई से इट इज़ रॉन्ग, इट वॉज इन्वेंटेड बाय डॉक्टर जगदीश चंद्र बोस। थोड़े दिन के बाद IEEE ने एक लेटर इनको भेजा, वी एग्री विथ यू, मार्कोनी इज ए थीफ, वी आर अशेम्ड ऑफ दिस इटालियन साइंटिस्ट। मेरा वाक्य नहीं है, उनका वाक्य है। वी एग्री दैट द इंस्ट्रूमेंट दैट ही यूज्ड फॉर पेटेंटिंग इन हिज नेम was really manufactured by Jagdish Chandra Bose, so we will not accept Marconi as inventor. ये लेटर हमने सिडनी रेडियो को दिया, तो सिडनी रेडियो ने 5 बार अनाउंस किया द रियल फादर ऑफ रेडियो इज डॉक्टर जगदीश चंद्र बोस। ये आप भी कर सकते हो विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस। इसलिए मैंने 2-3 उदाहरण बताए। आप में से कितने लोग हैं कि एक दिन सप्ताह में कम से कम 1 घंटा इंटरनेट में रिसर्च के लिए देंगे? जरा हाथ तरह ऊपर करो अपने देश के लिए, और आप देखना 10 महीने के अंदर आप नरेंद्रन बन जाओगे। दूसरा है, भारत में आपने देखा होगा जंतर मंतर, इट इज़ द बिगेस्ट साइंटिफिक लैबोरेटरी इन द वर्ल्ड। वहाँ का वॉचमैन का पूछो व्हाट इज़ द टाइम नाउ, और अपने पास जो LCD LED है, जो लेटेस्ट डिज़ाइन का टाइम पीस है, दोनों कंपेयर करके देखो, वो तो वहाँ से आने वाला वियर्ड लुकिंग स्ट्रक्चर से, शैडो से बताता है अब 10:03, और वही करेक्ट टाइम आपके वॉच में भी दिखाता है जो एटॉमिक क्लॉक का है, मे बी ±1 मिनट। इतना एक्यूरेट आज से 300 साल पहले। एंड दिस इज द 300th ईयर ऑफ दैट ग्रेट मैथमेटिशियंस हु मेड दिस। क्या हमने उसको धूमधाम से इंटरनेशनल सेंटर के नाते सेलिब्रेट नहीं करना चाहिए? सोचिए कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, उस जंतर मंतर को सेंटर में बनाकर वर्ल्ड कॉन्फ्रेंस यहाँ कर सकते हैं क्या? दिस इज क्योंकि वो बनाने में 4 साल लगे, तो इस साल से 4 साल तक का उसका 300 ईयर होने वाला है। दूसरा है, अभी अभी उन्होंने बताया हाइफा युद्ध, द वन एंड द ओनली वन बैटल इन द वर्ल्ड वेयर द इंडियंस वर फाइटिंग विथ स्वॉर्ड्स एंड स्पीयर्स। केवल तलवार से, भाला से लड़ रहे थे, और सामने वो कैनन से, सामने वे लोग मशीन गन से लड़ रहे थे। इसे देखकर अंग्रेज बोल रहे थे कि वो ऊपर है माउंटेन टॉप, कार्मेल माउंटेन, और हम लोग नीचे हैं, सारे के सारे भून दिए जाएंगे, हम इसमें लड़ना नहीं चाहते हैं। लेकिन भारतीय लोगों ने बोला हम तो क्षत्रिय है, हम तो राजपूत है, हमारे डिक्शनरी में वापस जाना ये कहीं भी नहीं लिखा है, हम पीठ नहीं दिखा सकते हैं, इसलिए हम तो लड़ेंगे ही लड़ेंगे। तो अंग्रेज़ों ने बताया आपके पास तो मशीन गन भी नहीं है, और हम आपको मदद करें, आर्टिलरी टैंक फायर दे, ये भी नहीं हो सकता है, क्योंकि आने वाले 5 किलोमीटर तक सारे रास्ते उन्होंने खड्डे खोद दिए हैं, सो दैट द टैंक्स कैन नॉट मूव। तो हम आपको मदद भी नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो आप फिर भी आप बोलते हैं कि हमको तो लड़ना है। आपको मृत्यु से डर नहीं लगती है? तब आपको एक बात बताता हूँ, अगर दुनिया में कोई भी कहता है कि मुझे मरने से डर नहीं है, वो झूठ बोलता है, या तो वो एक भारत का राजपूत सिपाही होगा, और कोई नहीं। सब लोग मौत से डरते हैं, भारत का वीर डरता नहीं है। तो ये गए चार्जिंग करते हुए, आश्चर्यचकित 4 घंटे के अंदर इतना बड़ा जो ओटोमन एम्पायर है उसको ध्वस्त कर दिया, और हम लोग जीत गए। ओटोमन सोल्जर्स हमसे भी 2 गुना 3 गुना ज़्यादा लोगों को ख़त्म भी किया, ज़्यादा लोगों को हमने प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर बनाकर वहाँ लाए। और उस समय बहाई फेथ के जो बहुत बड़े बहाउल्लाह जो थे उनको भी लिबरेट करके लाया। लाइटनिंग स्पीड में करने वाले 3 लोग थे, जोधपुर के, मैसूर के और गुजरात के भावनगर के वीर सैनिकों ने यह काम करके दिखाया है। इसलिए वहाँ दिल्ली में 3 मूर्ति चौक है। ये और एक है 1962 का वॉर, उसके जैसे एक युद्ध जो जोधपुर के योद्धा ने लड़ा, शायद ही दुनिया के इतिहास में आपको कंपैरिजन में मिलेगा। हम लोग केवल 120 लोग थे, उसमें 3 लोग सर्वाइव कर गए, बाकी 117 लोग मर गए। सामने से 1962 में लद्दाख में रेजांगला में 1600,000 फीट के ऊपर लड़ रहा था, वहाँ सामने से 7,000 चाइनीज़ लोग आए थे, वो भी आर्टिलरी टैंक लेकर आए थे। हमारे 117 लोग मरे, उनके लाश 1,300 गिनती में आई। इस प्रकार का प्रोपोर्शनेट 10 को एक ने मारा, फिर अपनी लाश बिछाया। जब ये रामचंद्र द्विवेदी को ये कहानी बताया गया तो वो तो इतने गदगद हो गए। तब उन्होंने एक गीत लिखा है, भारत के इतिहास में एक गीत है वंदे मातरम, सारे लोग वो सुनते ही गदगद हो जाते हैं, कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक। वैसे ही एक और गीत है, वो गीत सुनते ही सबके आंखों से आंसू निकलते हैं। वो कौन सा गीत है? मेरे वतन के लोगों, रिटर्न ऑन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द क्रिएटेड बाय ए जोधपुर मेजर शैतान सिंह भाटी। सल्यूट टू हिम, such a great person with such a small infantry and that too at a height, जब इनके पास पहनने के लिए ढंग के बूट भी नहीं थे, ग्लव्स नहीं थे, फिर भी ये लोग लड़े, शत्रु को अंदर आने नहीं दिया। और ये हमें पता कैसे चला? 3 लोग जीवित थे, उन्होंने आके बताया कि ये युद्ध में हमने ऐसा निर्णय लिया और ऐसा हमने काम किया। बहुत जल्दी ही एक पिक्चर आने वाला है इनके ऊपर। तो ये है भारत और राजस्थान के इतिहास। हमको राजस्थान ने दुनिया को क्या दिया ये याद रखना चाहिए। और अभी आपको जल्दी जल्दी कुछ बातें बताता हूँ। एक आदमी अमेरिका में जा रहा था और उसने पेट्रोल भरा। पेट्रोल भरने के लिए वहाँ आपको खुद ही जाकर पेट्रोल लेना पड़ता है, भरना पड़ता है, और फिर काउंटर में जाकर पैसा देना पड़ता है। तो जब पैसा दे रहा था तो वो आदमी भी देखा कि यहाँ तो शाम को कोई आ ही नहीं रहा है, रात के समय भीड़ नहीं रहता है, तो थोड़ा इससे बातचीत करते हुए उसने बताया, आई नो दैट यू आर एन इंडियन अब शक्ल से कौन अफ्रीकन में, कौन घाना का है, कोई नाइजीरिया का है, कौन साउथ अफ्रीका है, हम नहीं बता सकते। शक्ल देखकर कोई इटली का है, कोई लंदन का है, कोई पेरिस का है, हम नहीं बता सकते हैं। तो ये कैसे बता रहा है कि यू आर एन इंडियन? तब उसने बताया, सर आप मर्सिडीज बेंज में घूम रहे हो। उसने बताया कि मैं पाकिस्तानी हो सकता हूँ, मैं बांग्लादेशी हो सकता हूँ, क्योंकि शक्ल में वो भी ऐसे दिखते हैं, लेकिन कोई पाकिस्तानी मर्सिडीज बेंज में नहीं जाता है। आप ज़रूर ABCD होंगे। तो मुझे ABCD क्या होता है? A यानी अटॉर्नी जनरल, B यानी बैंकर, C यानी कंप्यूटर एक्सपर्ट, C यानी कंसल्टेंट और D यानी डायरेक्टर। अच्छा, तो वे पाकिस्तानी क्या होते हैं? ABCD में छोटा भी ABCD होता है ना। तो A यानी आतंकवादी, B यानी बंदूक लेके घूमने वाला, C यानी क्लरिकल और D यानी दरवान। ये अमेरिका में लोग जानते हैं। मैं तो बार बार विदेश जाते रहता हूँ। एक बार मैं लाइन में खड़ा रहा, मेरे सामने एक इंडियन था और घंटों लग रहा है, मेरा लाइन नहीं जा रहा, बाकी सब लाइन जा रहे हैं। फिर मैंने दिखाया तो 2 मिनट पे उसने स्टैम्प मारा। मैंने इसके पहले जो आदमी था उसको क्यों इतना परेशान कर रहे थे? तो वो इंडियन नहीं था, वो पाकिस्तानी था। ये है कि जब आपका नाम अहमद होगा, मोहम्मद होगा, भले इंडियन भी होगा, आपको घंटों तक वहाँ वीसा में खड़े रहना पड़ेगा। ये देख लीजिए दुनिया कैसे सोचती है भारत के बारे में। एंटायर वर्ल्ड इज़ प्राउड अबाउट इंडिया। अब आपको दुनिया में जानते हो CEO के नाम, आप ले लेंगे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, वहाँ एक सत्या नडेला है। गूगल में कौन है? सुंदर पिचाई। सन माइक्रो सिस्टम विनोद खोसला। अब लड़कियों में आते हैं, पेप्सी कोला का कौन थी? इंदिरा गांधी। इंटरनेशनल मॉनेटरी फंड के वाइस प्रेसिडेंट कौन है? गीता गोपीनाथ। वेरी गुड। और शैनल, आप किसी भी एयरपोर्ट में जाओगे तो सेंट वगैरह जो लगाते हैं वहाँ शैनल का दुकान मिलता ही है, वर्ल्ड फेमस है, इट्स फ्रॉम पेरिस। वो कौन है उसके इंचार्ज? CEO कौन है? आपके हाथ में तो मोबाइल है ना, फटाक से बता सकते हो। उसका नाम है लीना नायर। अब प्रश्न ये उठता है कि अमेरिका में वर्ल्ड्स बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटीज़, हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी है, आपके पास कैलिफोर्निया यूनिवर्सिटी है। अमेरिका के मोर देन 20 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में मेरा लेक्चर हुआ है। एक जगह पे आई वेंट देयर टू टेल, हाँ मेरा टाइम हो गया है तो ठीक है। सबसे प्रेस्टिजियस संस्था होती है द ब्रिटिश रॉयल सोसाइटी, वहाँ मुझे बुलाया था और उन्होंने बताया कि यू कैन स्पीक ओनली फॉर 40 मिनट्स, 20 मिनट्स क्वेश्चन आंसर। आई सेड फाइन। और मैंने 40 मिनट बताया भारत्स गिफ्ट टू द वर्ल्ड, व्हाट भारत हैज़ गिवन टू द वर्ल्ड इन नॉलेज। 40 मिनट्स के बाद 2 लोग खड़े हो गए, वाई आर यू हाइडिंग सो मेनी थिंग्स फ्रॉम अस, वी वॉन्ट टू हियर योर एंटायर स्पीच। तब जाके 2.5 घंटे तक मैंने भाषण दिया और वोट ऑफ थैंक्स करते हुए बताया कि नोबडी इन ब्रिटिश रॉयल सोसाइटी टू माई मेमोरी हैज़ हेल्ड द ऑडियंस फॉर 2.5 आवर्स। अब रात के 10 बज गए, अभी हम बंद करते हैं। इतनी सारी ताकत आप में है, आप कर सकते हो, भारत के हो, इसके ऊपर गर्व रखो। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। हम सभी को इतने उत्कृष्ट संबोधन के लिए हम सभी आभारी हैं आपके लिए। We're truly overwhelmed after listening to that, and I'm sure that most of us didn't know some of the things that sir was talking about. So thank you, sir, once again for reminding us that we can serve this nation not just through arms but also ideas, only by dedicating a short time of our daily lives. Now I'm delighted to welcome our next speaker, Shri Soundarajan Narendran ji, who is a distinguished technology leader and policy expert with over 20 years of specialized experience in data science, big data, AI, and social media analytics, an electrical engineering graduate from IIT Madras with a postgraduate diploma in digital commerce. He has seamlessly blended technical expertise with profound work in public policy and Indian civilizational studies. As a consultant, Shri Narendran ji has worked with governments and global institutions across 42 countries in the EU, South Asia and the Middle East, focusing on humanism-based economics, sustainability and social sciences. He is the founder of the global think tank Sapiens Network based in Oslo and previously served as the founder director of Janam TV, an Indian television channel. His extensive collaborations include partnerships with the Commonwealth Union on digital governance, the government of Sri Lanka on famine prevention, and the Fair Observer Intelligence in Washington, D.C. on geopolitical analysis. Through these multifaceted roles, Shri Soundarajan Narendranji has established himself as a visionary leader driving innovation, sustainable growth, and cross-cultural dialogue on the global stage. I request you, sir, to now deliver your talk on geopolitical developments transforming India.
सभी को नमस्कार and students of IIT Jodhpur, distinguished faculty members and my colleague who are guests who have come from outside. So सभी को नमस्कार. It's a great opportunity to be speaking among students. I'm not a public speaker. I never get an audience to speak. Of course, we do a lot of other work. To quickly tell you a background, I am a qualified electrical engineer from IIT Chennai, long years ago. And after doing trained career professional working with multiple companies, I think we decided to go into completely new areas. Spent long years on data and analytics, and that gave me a lot of interest in public policy. I think this is an area India has to learn to lead. In spite of being a very large economy and a growing and a thriving economy, I think our establishment into public policy and has been very dismally low. It is not even a practice. We believe that public policy is an act of the government, and we believe all diplomacy is exclusivities with the government. And most of our thinking, we are all trained to obey orders from what government says, and we are all trained to believe that public policy is meant for retired people, and this not-for-profit institutions is meant for ex-army, ex-government officials. It is not so. I am a living example. Public policy is a very important aspect, and India is learning to lead. We will lead. Okay, so that's the background of what it is. I just come to share some of these thoughts. I don't have any charts, but I think it's important for each one of you to understand what is happening. The program is called Operation Sindoor. I think Operation Sindoor, we have experts from here, from the armed services, talking about the military warfare. But there is much more many-dimensional war which takes place as we speak today. The economic war got intensified, but the economic war has been going on for centuries. For about 850 years, the central Islamic military dictators ruled our country. They didn't rule our country for anything else. They looted us. The amount of money which was looted out of India and the amount of free labor they enslaved and took away, I think that's when the true economic Operation Sindoor started. And it's going on till today. And everybody is famous with what is happening to Trump and tariffs. This is not new. This is today become more sophisticated, more lighter. But this economic war has been going on for centuries and centuries. As we become a much bigger economy, this is going to be more intense, more tough, and more difficult. So I'll talk a little bit about the economic war. I'm not going to touch much on the military. There are experts in this area who's talking about. But there is a huge economic war which is taking place. There is also a political war which we are being victimized and we have to be very aware of. Globally, it is prevailing very well. They are trying to break geographical boundaries and they are trying to create virtual countries and splitting the world into bipolarity. I'll explain this a little bit. It's a political war, the right and the left. So across Europe, across North America, across continents, barring the few dictatorial countries, some countries in the Middle East, but all over the world is trying to be split into the far left and the far right. So you all might be having an opinion, a political idea, a political vision, but just be an observer. You're all engineers, that too of an institution of this quality. So listening to your director, I know what it's a sample for what the university is going to become. Very happy to see this generation, this Gen Z under his leadership. There is a huge war taking place between the far left and the far right. Guys, let me tell you, both are equally dangerous. So if you look at the far left, look at what's happening. Forget what we are and this government here. You just step back away. You're all engineers. If you look at it very analytically, the far left is trying to push the world towards gender anarchy. They are questioning or confusing the question of whether you are a man or a woman or you are in between somewhere. They have created 72 different genders. It has not been initiated by biologists or scientists or genomics at all. It should be led by engineers like you. No, it is being led by anarchist, activist. So, that is on one side. These are some of the examples. They are talking about immigration as a very big thing. In today, the world has the highest number of people who are immigrating from country A to country B. In 2024 alone, almost 1.5% of the world's population are immigrants. And people want to open floodgates for all the immigrants from North America to come to, from South America to the United States. They want all Southeast Asian countries to move to Western Europe. They want all the Southeast Asian countries to become refugees in India. You know, it's not something which we are facing unique. You guys just step back and understand why there has been a severe push of immigrants. Why are the top 5 economies in the world? Why are the top 10 developed nations in the world? There is an activism going on to open your borders and get all the poor coming inside. And on the other side, as a response to this, look at how some of the European countries have bounced back. There is a very powerful movement in United Kingdom called Reform UK. So if you go check what is Reform UK trying to do, or AFD in Germany, what they are trying to do, it's a beginning of the trend. It's going to happen in India. It is going to happen in India. So they are saying, all those who are not British, all those who are not white, please get out. That's their clear message. Anybody who's not a German will be killed if you don't get out. That's the response of the far right all over the world. There are, as we speak, 74 countries is being torn between not boundary or geography. You might have a common economic model, you might have a common banking system, but today in a virtual economy, virtual world, you can actually split the country into the far left and the far right. It's very, very, very dangerous. Far more dangerous than what you think you are. Today, if you have a Trump supporter, a girl will not date a Democrat. It's a fact of life. You have to find a Democrat supporter to find your life partner. You will not be employed in a job if the CEO is a left and if you become a Trump supporter. You all going to build your careers, you're going to be in different parts of the world. It's very important for you to understand. And guys, don't take any stand. Just ignore politics. Push it out. It's got nothing to do with your life. Unless you want to be a politician, then politics becomes important. If you're not politician, it's just not important at all. It doesn't matter who's at what government. Please stay away from this, because amount of content being pushed into our minds, pushed into the social media, pushed into this utopian ideas of left or the right, both are very dangerous. We come from India. India is a most natural centrist of the world. We are multipolar by nature. We are very comfortable with uncertainty. We are very comfortable with crowd, population, changes to climate, changes to the environment, changes to living conditions, changes to everything. We are naturally a multipolar society, subconsciously a multipolar society. This jugaad, what people say, I think it's been stereotyped to adjustment or doing something illegal. But the jugaad is such a spiritual word, I'm telling you. We are so comfortable to know jugaad. Jugaad is nothing but multipolar. यहाँ रास्ता बंद है, दूसरा रास्ता निकालो. ये प्रोफेसर ठीक से मार्क नहीं देता, दूसरा रास्ता निकालो. Find your way. All I have done in my life is to master the art of jugaad into an art form. Okay? Very simple. It applies to everything and everything into your daily life. So if you can actually come up with an NVIDIA chip for jugaad, okay, you can beat Sam Altman on his market cap. The world is all about multipolar world. You can take it to any level. I'll give you some great examples of how jugaad, we are so hard-coded into our DNA. We are expert at it. There is no other expert in the world. We are the expert. So this political war which is going on between far left and right, you should be aware of what is happening. Your living conditions outside is going to get very, very, very tough. And especially when Indians are doing so successful. Ravi ji ne bataya, itne corporate company का CEO भारतीय है और इतने बड़े बड़े उद्योगपति भारतीय हैं. So there is also this jealous factor which will add to those countries, and that is another huge initiative. Sure. So the third war is technology war. So you don't realize, I don't know how many of you spend how much time. I'm sure you must be spending a couple of hours on social media, Instagram and Twitter and all that is which is available. So India has the largest population of social media users. As per Google, last month we crossed 530 million active social media users. We are the world's largest community of social media ecosystem in the world, 520 million. And Indians also spend the highest number of time, an average of 3.6 hours a day. We are the highest in the world, 3.6 hours in a day. And they will come and tell you, no, internet is so useful, instant information, and then you get access to information. There are some great examples, aapko information access has become free. But you look at it yourself, just analyze and say, कितना चिट चैट के लिए कितना फालतू बकवास, कोई देखना हो, कोई इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग्स ऐसा ऐसा लूर करते हैं, they will make you hook on to you for reels, etc., etc. You don't even know that you are being conquered, you are being occupied. I'm not saying it is bad. You should be aware of it, what it is doing to you. Then it's okay. You're all very smart people, you can handle this. There is a technology battle which is taking place at the hardware level, at the software level. America is trying to conquer and create a new imperial rule or a colonial rule through technology, especially on social media and its content. And AI is just another extension. And we have some great examples of a counterbalancing force by China. And if you look at how technology development in China is taking place, first of all, China has completely sealed out all content which is not original Chinese. People say it's a communist rule, it's a dictatorial system, they're very restrictive, but aisa humko padhaya gaya. But the fact of the matter is, it's a great example of Rashtravad. It's a phenomenal example of understanding how people should build their nation. Okay, they are not trying to prevent simply because everything else is bad. They are trying to concern for their young people. They are concerned about Gen Z. They are concerned about Gen X. They are concerned about their next generation who are going to come. And you just translate that, you say some very few examples. You look at the Max Olympiad, how many Chinese versus how many Americans. You see scientific, technological. You see last year how many patents on AI, semiconductor chip, artificial intelligence, defense system, material sciences. It clearly shows. And whereas India, you see the top 10, 20 most sought after content. It pains me a lot. I'm also father, parent and a grandfather too. It pains me a lot. The most, out of the top 20 most watched content in India, 50% are film stars. We should be ashamed of this as a nation. We spoke about the greatest achievement. We are on the cusp of ruling the world. And apna agla generation, agla pidi is following film stars. I'm not saying it is wrong. I'm not against film stars or sports stars. They're good. But that can't be the top of your life. Who runs your life? So there is a technology war which is taking place. It will be very interesting. I will give you some examples, but I think there is some important guest has to leave. So I'll wind this up. So please remember, Operation Sindoor is not about military and it is not about Pakistan. Operation Sindoor is about, of course, military. It's economic war. It is cultural war. It is technology war, which is taking place. It's very important. That's my perspective. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm around here. We can talk more and really appreciate. Sabhi ko dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, Soundarajan sir, for that inspiring talk. And I'm sure that our students would like to interact with you in the networking session. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Lieutenant General Arun Anant Narayanan, retired, who is a highly decorated officer of the Indian Army with a service tenure marked by exemplary leadership and strategic acumen. Commissioned into the Army, he rose through the ranks to command key formations, including the prestigious Trishakti Corps. His distinguished career includes impactful tenures in counter-insurgency operations and conventional warfare, particularly in sensitive sectors such as Jammu and Kashmir. Recognized for his valor and service, he has been awarded the Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal and Sena Medal, among other honors. Post-retirement, he remains an influential voice in national security discourse, contributing his expertise to strategic planning and defense analysis. His insights into tactical warfare, leadership, and military readiness make him a respected figure in security studies. Thank you for joining us, sir. I request General Arun to deliver his talk on title Leadership Lessons from the Armed Forces.
Awesome. Can you see me on screen? Just wave your hand.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So good morning, Jai Hind and happiness. So just a couple of things about me. Long back in the year of the Lord 1981, I gave a small exam which is called the JEE, and I was 13th rank. So I went to IIT Madras, and after 62 days, I realized that I don't have the grey matter to continue there, so I left and became a soldier. 40 years, I've been in the army, I've been shot and wounded multiple times. I have had a fantastic life. So how do I propose to start this conversation? What is a country and what is a nation? We need to know very clearly. Boundaries can create countries. Geographies create countries. Countries have no soul, countries have no life. They are like steel, concrete, and glass. The soul of IIT Jodhpur does not lie in its buildings, does not lie in its history. It lies in its sentiment. It lies in the emotion. So that is what makes a nation. a common vision, a desire to do something together. It's a sentiment. It can be felt. It can even be seen. Can it be taught? This is a little experiment. This is an attempt that all of you all together have got together to create and produce. Is it a pleasure and a privilege speaking at the IIT Jodhpur? Absolutely priceless. I wish I could have been there myself so that the energy that I feel I could transmit to you physically, but that is not to happen because I have to rush at 12:30 for another meeting somewhere. So, what makes a nation? Is it just the fiber? Or do you require to mix with that fiber the concrete that will make it mazboot? Now, that concrete in the nation or nationalism sense is the spirit of nationalism. And the spirit of nationalism is indicated in multiple ways. Is it just by waving a flag on the 15th of August or the 26th of January? Is it just by saluting when you see the body of a fallen soldier come by? Is it just screaming "Mera Bharat Mahan" when your Indian cricket team wins, and then get back to watching your favorite movie star on your Instagram reel, like Sir before me just described? How does nationalism happen, and who's the key to this nationalism? It is the citizen. Now, which is the citizen who is important? The tinker, tailor, soldier, cobbler, butcher, artist, sculptor, engineer, doctor, teacher, professor, tailor, shopkeeper. They're all important because everybody provides a single fabric which we weave into this strong concept called Bharat. Who's more important than the other? None. All of us are as important as the other. Because I've been shot and wounded 5 times, do I now begin to tell you it's only the soldier who's the custodian of nationalism? Absolutely no. Spare a thought for everybody else in our country, and all of us contribute. But I've been a soldier for 40 years or so, so I talk about being a soldier. No, I could pick 10 kids up from your campus and get them into the army. How does this transformation happen in 1 year? From just being a citizen on the street, where there's a young boy who's 18 who becomes an Agniveer and then a soldier in our Army, Navy or Air Force, or it be a young graduate, or it be a technical graduate from an institution such as yours. In 11 months, how do I produce an outstanding soldier from just a good citizen? What do you expect of a soldier? There is courage, there is integrity, there is physical fitness, there is stature, there is honesty, there is team spirit, there is adventure, there is risk-taking ability, there is this spirit of nationalism, there is this feeling of sacrifice, there is this ability to put somebody else above my own needs. How does all these qualities, how do we put all these qualities into that 1 year and a half of training and then produce this outstanding person in uniform who you look at on TV and say, wow, till such time the next actor or actress comes along. But that's a travesty of the times that we live in and the instruments that we use to create our own heroes. Please also understand, ladies and gentlemen, society will be defined by those whom we regard as heroes. We all need heroes. We need to be very, very conscious of who we decide are going to be our heroes. Make that choice very, 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 very carefully. So, the soldier, what special qualities? We've spoken about these qualities. How do these qualities happen in this 1 year? I will just speak for a couple of minutes there. First is a physical capacity. Each of y'all sitting in that hall, including somebody who's as old as me, is capable of running 40 kilometers with 40 kgs on your back with an AK-47 in your hand, wearing a bulletproof vest and a bulletproof helmet. You are. How do I create the transformation? This is what we make happen, because a healthy body is a healthy mind. So if on your campus, your director does not give you the first 40 minutes or 1 hour in the morning for any form of physical fitness, could be walking in your outstanding campus, could be running on the road, could be doing yoga, could be doing aerobics, Zumba, it doesn't matter. That first 40 minutes of physical fitness is what will energize your brain to be alive, active and inspired for the rest of the day. It will also make you eat well. It will also make you sleep well. A healthy body always houses a healthy mind. So we build that healthy body and we push that body to a limit which only the body knows it can reach. The mind does not know. So where the mind gets fatigued, the body stops getting fatigued. And when the body gets fatigued, the mind says you can do that little more. We create a combination of these two and it keeps going and going and going. And when the two get tired, we insert something into the equation which in Hindi is purely called hum. हम मैं से हम बनते हैं. This is एक उंगल, this is दो, this is पांच, this is हम. So the group now becomes preeminent. So I realized that I have to keep the group ahead of me. Where I get fatigued, I will go on for the group. Where I get some more fatigued, the group will carry me. That is the power of the group. So we fix the body, we teach mind over body, and then we tell people, जो मुझसे नहीं हो सकता है, वो हमसे होगा. So we keep the group above everything else. So any project, any assignment, any research paper that you as individuals in IIT Jodhpur are unable to do, the rest of IIT Jodhpur will put their shoulder to that wheel. You will still remain at the front of that project, but now you have a whole family of people supporting you. That is what groups do in the armed forces. Us versus me. We stop using the word मैं. मैं तो साला useless. I become an insignificant component. Us become a very big component. We become a very big component. Sir, I have a problem. Sorry. Sir, हमें एक मुश्किल का सामना करना पाए. हम, we becomes more important. This is not mine. ये मेरा नहीं है. ये हमारा है. ये देश हमारा है. ये संस्था हमारा है. IIT जोधपुर आपका है. IIT जोधपुर के मालिक साहब is not the central government, is not the state government, it is not even your director, it's not even the faculty. It's each of yours who wear that identity card of IIT Jodhpur. You are the owners of IIT Jodhpur. Who owns your colony? Who owns your city? Who owns this country? It is you. Our Honorable Prime Minister talks of Swachh Bharat campaign. Now I have a view for you. अगर आप कैंपस में कचरा नहीं फेंकेंगे for 3 days, you don't require anybody to clean it. As simple as that. So this will come from ownership. We try and teach this ownership. Failings and failures. Everybody who's listening to me now and sitting in that audience, including those in the front row, including those on the stage, and including people who are behind the stage and me, have all failed in life somewhere. It is okay to fail. If you fail, it also means that you have tried. So in the armed forces, we teach people to accept that failing, but learn from that failing. When you learn from that failure, prepare, rehearse, create a team, and give it another shot and you succeed, then you have learned from that failure. You have used that failing as a stepping stone to success. For God's sake, do not believe that you are that failing. फिजिक्स में फेल हो गए, मैथ्स में फेल हो गए, एक पेपर में फेल हो गए, एक कॉम्पिटिशन में फेल हो गए, इट्स ऑल राइट. गेट टुगेदर एंड कॉन्कर इट. दैट इज व्हेन यू बिकम अ फेलिंग. इफ यू एक्सेप्ट दैट कि ये मुझसे नहीं होगा, कि हम ऐसे ही हैं, then that failing becomes a failure. We don't accept failures. We don't have failures. Hundreds of us fail multiple times in multiple things, but the group will get together and convert that failing to a success. Detail supersedes theory. What you learn in your college alone will not get you a job. What you are able to do with what you learn in that college will get you great jobs. So many people have spoken before me and I've told you, think of that mad thing. So we want you to create. People use the word innovation. I actually don't even like the word innovation. I'm happy to go with creation. Make in India to hai hi saab. But we don't want to be make in India. China rose to great eminence as being called the factory of the world. Do I want India to be the factory of the world? No. We want India to be the cerebral engine of the world. Design in India, think in India, create in India. Make to hota rahega. So whether it's made in India or made in France or Croatia or Latvia or Germany, wherever else, we will still own a component of the IP rights and you will continue to earn money. prosperity is a critical component of power status. If that is our aspiration, that is what we must do. I want all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to remember that it's not my forecast. It's not even a prediction. It's a scientific forecast. In the year 2070, we are forecasted to be in the range of 55 or 56 trillion dollars as a GDP. We have to go there. We also have to increase our gross national income. ये आप लोग करेंगे. This is your job. We have brought you till here. We are in probably the last quarter or 10% of our lives. You are in probably the first quarter or the first 10% of your lives. We brought you till here, and we are convinced that that is the destination that Bharat will reach. Please go ahead and make it happen. Perseverance supersedes and precedes success. Don't give up. करो, एक बार, दो बार, तीन बार, चार बार, 10 बारी करो. Don't give up. Just keep at it and you will succeed. That's a guarantee. In the armed forces, we keep talking of नाम, नमक and निशान. या आप लोग सब हिंदी समझते हो, you know what नाम, नमक and निशान is. I don't have to explain it to you. So what happens is, I give up my identity as an individual and allow it to be subsumed by the identity of the organization that I represent. So the flag, the country that I stand for, the nation that I believe in, the symbols of our land, what we stand for as a country become more important than my own personal beliefs, aspirations. That is when you start building Bharat. Now for this, and I'm getting to the end of what I have to say, there is something called sacrifice. Sir ने आपको बोला है कि can you give me 1 hour a week? Sir, you're a very nice man, you're a very generous man. I am sorry, I don't agree with you. 1 hour a week is not enough. I am asking for 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day. And the average time, sir, which an average Indian student spends on social media after college hours. Please remember, after college hours on an average is between 8 to 10 hours. Which means the young people of India are sleeping at about 1:30 or 2:30 at night and attending college at 8 in the morning, which makes them unable to do anything before classes. Most of them don't eat breakfast. We are in the process of destroying our society and our health. Does it suit other countries? Of course it does. We've got to be cautious of where we go. So 1 hour per day is all that I'm asking, to study, research something new, which will help build a future, resurgent, rising, powerful, strong and proud India. In the army, the sacrifice that we expect from our people is also the biggest sacrifice, बलिदान जिसको बोलते हैं. बलिदान वक्त तो सब दे सकते हैं, दोस्ती दे सकते हैं, पैसा दे सकते हैं, गाड़ी दे सकते हैं. बलिदान, to give your life is the ultimate sacrifice, and our people do it without batting an eyelid. Now that is something that we teach them, inculcate them. Is it a one-off process? Can you attend a certificate and say you're certified, Balidan expert? Doesn't work like that. This is a work in progress. Continually, the group and the individual keep learning, keep getting inspired from the history. We've talked of historical names. Our history doesn't stop when the British came. Our history doesn't start when the Mughals came. There is a place in Tamil Nadu where they found metallurgy which is close to 5000 BCE. Well before any other civilization is recorded. And we are now discovering it. And this discovery has been facilitated by a very, very young chemistry teacher in that village. He has no fancy education. He speaks only Tamil. But he believed there was something there. And today it's one of the biggest archaeological excavations in India, in terms of how our forefathers were skilled in metallurgy and forms which we cannot believe. So that is where we've come from, and that is what we should not let go. I want you to remember that it is a matter of great pride and glory that you people are sitting there in one of our best institutions of the country. You are already halfway to anything that I've spoken about, and I have no doubt that you will go the rest of the way and give India the place where it actually deserves. I have to end with a quote from a beautiful poem. It is not an Indian poem, but the words are powerful. And I'll read out a little bit of it with a little modification. This is a poetic license. It says, to every man upon this earth, death will come soon or late. And how better can man die than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and for the temples of his gods. So for the temples of your gods, ladies and gentlemen, for the ashes of your fathers, for the history that we've inherited, for the outstandingly wonderful nation of which we are a part, for the great institute where you are now being provided the best education, there is no better way to live. You don't have to die. But I want you to live with glory, live with pride. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, General Arun, for that energizing and quite passionate talk on leadership lessons from the armed forces. And truly, your words resonate with all of us here and inspire us to move from me to us. That sentiment remains with us. Thank you so much, sir. We hope that you visit IIT Jodhpur the next time. And
Invite me.
Yes, definitely. We look forward to hosting you here on our campus. Thank you once again. Thank you.
God bless you.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we break for tea, and then we meet here at 10:20. I apologize, at 12:20 for the next session. Thank you.
We can handle multiple targets, that is 4, 6, 8 aircraft coming into our territory can be in parallel destroyed, tracked and also destroyed simultaneously. That is the capability. Then it's all automatic. Once the missile is seen by the radar, everything becomes activated, and the commander has only to watch and give a clearance for the final go. Otherwise, everything is done automatic. And also, it has got a built-in test facilities so that it gets checked whether it is okay in good condition. Then only it will be launched, and the missile will be flying supersonic speed all along till the target gets intercepted. And as you see, it's all transportable by road, rail, by air, and it is highly cost effective when compared to any missile system of similar air defense capability. And Akash system is of the lowest cost and the highest performance as appreciated by our users. Now, the important elements of this missile system, as you people can appreciate, is there is a propulsion which is a ramjet propulsion. It is not a solid rocket, it is a rocket with ramjet. That is, it takes the air from outside and it is allowed to burn throughout the flight. So the missile speed will never come down as long as it is flying. It will remain around Mach 2. And the radar is shown here. This is a phased radar which are given the multiple target handling capability. That is, simultaneously many targets can be destroyed by one radar system. This first time in the country we have developed such a phased array radar technology. Now, of course, whatever radar is being made by the country, developed by a lab called LRD in Bengaluru, also produced by Bharat Electronics in India, also by L&T, they are all having phased array technology as a standard feature. And the missile is guided by the missile. See, the missile is first tracked by the radar, and once it is within the territory and within the reach, then the launchers get activated. Then the missile will be paired with the correct target. The target missile pairing is done automatically using C4I. It gets paired, then at the right time the missile takes off towards the target. This is all done automatically, and the till intercept is being tracked. Now, the partners of the Akash system, we have a lot of DRDO labs, about a dozen laboratories, public sector, defense public sectors like BDL, BEL, ECL, all they have contributed. Then academy, all IITs, Jodhpur, university, then NAL, ISRO, IIT Madras, then a lot of private industries. The 200 private industries have contributed. The top ones being the tier 1, that is like L&T, then the Tatas, They are the number of tier 1. Then we come to tier 2, tier like VM, Tamil. Then tier 3 where make the components. So we have tier 3, tier 2, tier 1 partners for the missile system. Now you can see the multi-function phase radar, which is the capability. It's got an array which is full of what is known as the transmit receive modules, and which will give you the total power required for missiles to be detected, tracked, and the missile will be guided towards the target. It also has got what is known as IFF, that is identification of friend or foe. So suppose there is a target by chance which is not an enemy target, the missile will not be launched. They will be bored. That means the system will check whether it is enemy aircraft or a friendly aircraft. If the response comes, that is the friendly aircraft, then it will not be paired with a missile. Otherwise, it will be launched only against the enemy targets. Now coming to the launcher, there is the Air Force launcher and Army launcher. Air Force launcher is the first on the top you are seeing, which can be moved easily, transported, whereas the Army launcher is totally mobile. Army can drive along the rough track, park the vehicle, immediately launch. So the two we have shown, Air Force launcher at the top, Army launcher at the bottom. And it's all fully electromechanical, servo valves, and it's got its own power supply. It doesn't need anything from outside. It will be continuously in touch with the radar using a communication system, a digital, secure, automatic communication system. So the missile and radar is always in contact with each other in real time, and missile is looking at the target in contact with the real time. Therefore, missile will be able to give the right commands. So the radar will be able to give the right command for the missile to go toward the target till the target gets destroyed. This is how the missile looks. The air intake caps, which are kept closed before the missile takes off. When the missile takes off, the caps will be open. It allows the air to go inside. Air will burn along with the fuel inside, and the propulsion will continue for nearly 30 seconds. By the time you would have covered 35 kilometers. That's how the target will be destroyed. And the propulsion is called solid integral ram rocket propulsion. And there is an onboard computer, the digital onboard computer system, which is the brain of the missile, is all the time monitoring what is happening around and what is the commands coming from the radar and what is happening to the target. And then when it goes close to the target, there is a radio proximity fuse which will detect the closeness of the target. At the most appropriate time, it will give a trigger for a warhead to explode. That's how the destruction takes place. Now the technology integration become very difficult and important because it is only a system of system. Missile is a system which has got the propulsion, it's got the airframe, it's got the warhead inside, it's got a control system inside, it's got a proximity fuse inside, and the automatic facilities inside, software facilities. Then there is a ground system, it's got a radar, it's got a launcher, and a servo system and communication, digital secure communication system. Now the integration will be, now we have to evolve proper integration methodology so that the missile, the ground system, the radar and the flying system will get integrated in real time as a total integrated weapon system. Now the trials, before we could hand over the missile system to the user, we have to carry out lot of trials. For example, their first level is called as a development trials, where we do field tests, both ground tests followed by flight tests. We do ourselves and make sure everything is fine. Then we hand over to the user. User will have a combined user evaluation trial, and user also wants to do electronic warfare trial. That is, in case the enemy has a jamming facility, you should be able to withstand the jamming and still carry out with the functions. And then we have also done a lot of trials in the territory, the rough tracks in the Rajasthan desert at plus 50 degrees, plus 55 degrees, summer trials, then monsoon trials, the day trials, night operations, and everything has been tested. Then only Army and Air Force have done validation flight tests on their own, and they say now we are happy, we can place the order. Now the flight test I told you, there is a guidance radar, there is a control center, launcher, number of launchers are there, and this becomes a troop. It can be a standalone troop which can manage the air defense activity. Such multiple troops can be integrated so that it becomes a integrated weapon system. It's called a group mode or operation, where say 4 troops or 6 troops can be part of one group. Then the group will be having a command center which will be in touch with the Air Force higher echelon command center, and the Akash system will be a part of the integrated in India's air defense system. Now, what is success achieved? We have done 4 critical technologies: radar technology, warhead technology, multiple target handling capability, and also this supersonic flight throughout the flight period. Then all have been integrated for a potential surface-to-air missile system. We have demonstrated consistent, reliable interception of moving, flying aerial targets in different missile profiles, thus earning today orders worth 40,000 crores. And also we have now got export orders, so we can probably it will cross 50,000 crores. Now, it's been produced by at least 200 industries are worked and will continue to work for next 30 years. Because once the missile systems are handed over to the user, the life of the missile is nearly 30 years. For 30 years, the missile systems need to be upgraded, software to be checked, any component life expiry, we have to stop it, we have to modify or we have to replace, and see that the reliability of what we promise, that is single shot kill probability of more than 95% will be ensured. Then there is a huge wealth generation in the country because 40-50,000 crores worth of production orders for in the defense arena, with the 200 industries earning it, and also supporting for the product lifetime support. This is a good employment generation as well as wealth generation, and it gives the pride and confidence for the country's defense mechanism that there is system which can protect the country in the borders. And industries also have got their capability upgraded capability to be able to take orders from any country in the world and directly develop a component or a subsystem or a module, test it, prove it here, then hand over for their use in that country. So there are many are getting export orders directly based on the experience that what we have provided. Of course, now the stakeholders are there, both public sector undertakings, private sector, I told you, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, private sector partners. And the image of the country, I am sure when our Prime Minister, Defense Minister goes anywhere in the world, they will be seen with a different respect. No, the commitment, as I told you, we had a great boss, Dr. Abdul Kalam. I had 1,000 scientists all over the country working for the development of the missile system, prototyping, product development, then subsystem development, integration of subsystem, testing on the ground, also testing in the field, then integrating the entire missile system, flying. This is a long process for 15 years. They have worked with us as a single team. So the success not only for 1,000 people with overall engineers, scientists, technicians, administrators, security people, officers, Army, Air Force officers, but also their family members who have stood by this like a rock behind the engineers and scientists who have made it big success. And quality has been implemented and there are no failures, and the industry has geared up and successfully produced in large numbers within the time frame as dictated by Indian Army and Indian Air Force. And there is also there is additional, as the life goes, they are able to generate new vendors so that you have a latest software, latest hardware available. And there is a leadership for guiding, training all the stakeholders, all the users all along. Because suppose a country like Armenia buys, they want training. Our industry and DRDO will go and train them for using in their country. So summary, Akash, indigenous supersonic, a first time indigenous supersonic multiple target handling surface to air missile system have been successfully designed, developed, produced and hand out to user who has used it in the real war and satisfied fully. And interception has been seen all flying targets and complex even drones have been intercepted. Complex technologies have been transferred to the Indian industries who have done a wonderful job by absorbing technology and later upgrading the technology. And as I was very happy, it generated wealth, employment, and they saved huge foreign exchange to the country. The Make in India policy, what our government keeps talking, has been truly executed and successfully handed over, and is exported. Of course, the number of countries may increase as the government of India and Ministry of Defence decide to allow many countries to have it. So this is what we used to see the Republic Day parade. You see the Akash missile and the Akash radar in the front, and behind is the Pinaka rockets behind. This is what we used to see. Now I will show two videos just to give a glimpse of the tests that were carried out in Balasore. One for the Akash and one for the BrahMos in the naval environment. I will show two just sample videos for the young generation to watch it and absorb it. That fireball you see is the blasting of the warhead when the target has come very close.
हाल ही में इंडियन आर्मी ने एक वीडियो सामने रखी है दुनिया के जहां पर आकाश मिसाइल डिफेंस सिस्टम की पावर और उसकी टारगेट एंगेजमेंट की एबिलिटी दिखाई गई है। यहाँ पे आप देख पाओगे इस वीडियो में कि आकाश किस तरीके से टारगेट को ढूंढता है और डिस्ट्रॉय करता है। और पॉसिबिलिटी काफी हाई है कि वियतनाम या फिर फिलीपींस बहुत ही जल्द भारत से आकाश एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम परचेज भी कर सकते हैं।
Okay, now if anybody has any questions, I don't mind uh, clarifying or providing necessary.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Dr. Ramarao. First of all, a huge round of applause from our side for your significant contributions. Under your leadership, we were able to have such two solid assets to our Indian air defense. And truly, as you said, the impact wasn't just felt by us, but also on the other side of the border. Thank you so much, sir, for your sharing your insights with us.
Thanks, and my best wishes to all the youth and not so youth people in the audience. I wish them all the best and have a great day. And encouragement from people like you make our engineers and scientists work better and more efficiently. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. You're an inspiration for all of us. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next talk, for which it is a privilege of mine to introduce Wing Commander Rohan Chandak, retired, who is a distinguished aeronautical engineer and a veteran of the Indian Air Force, commissioned into the IAF's aeronautical engineering stream. He holds an MTech in aeronautical engineering from VTU, an MBA in supply chain management from NMIMS, and prestigious certifications in AI, ML, and data science from IIT Bombay. During his military career, he held critical roles including Senior Technical Officer at Strategic Radar Units, Senior Production Officer maintaining electrotechnical standards, and Senior Software Engineer developing cutting-edge solutions for aviation platforms. He spearheaded AI/ML research with his groundbreaking work on predictive health monitoring of jet engines, published in the MILIT Journal. Currently, as Program Director of the Technocraft Center for Applied Artificial Intelligence at IIT Bombay, a designated center of excellence, he leads innovative research in applied AI, bridging advanced technology with real-world aviation challenges. His expertise and leadership continue to drive technological innovation in both the defense and civilian sectors. I request Wing Commander Rohan to deliver his talk on India's innovation in aerial warfare.
Screen and take you through the journey of what we experienced in Operation Sindoor. And just a minute. Sure. So is the screen visible? Yes. Great. So Operation Sindoor, it happened. We experienced a lot of things. There were a lot of learnings with respect to the nation's technology building, technology supremacy, and then probably the lessons are now forever for us to absorb. And I thought that might as well break it into chapters. So chapter 1, the action time, which is the aerial supremacy. So aerial supremacy, we always thought that yes, we are having an upper edge with respect to the adversaries that we foresee. But then we always get to actually realize all these things when we face the adversaries, right? All these battle tactics and for whatever exercises we do with the friendly and probably our ally countries, we never get to test what the adversaries actually has. So we sort of reevaluate ourselves when we have such kind of an episode. And the last episode happened sometime in Balakot, where we learned that yes, if we need to overpower our adversary, we have the capability, but then there are some shortcomings and there are some areas of improvements. One was particularly, we found that this was a network-centric operations. So in Balakot, we realized that whatever data communication that we are doing with respect to all the platforms which are aerial, so particularly a fighter platform flying over there and then communicating to the other fighter and probably to a transport which is guiding that particular fighter in the war scenario, everything was verbal. No data per se was being shared between the platforms, and everything was verbal in terms of, okay, now this is where I am, this is where I am. You can get it from the radars, but then when you are speaking to the other fighters, then you need to tell them that okay, I can see adversary in front of me, probably 180° north or maybe 270° north or 360°, something like that, right? So everything was on a verbal basis, and that made a situational awareness appreciation very difficult for the aircrew. So what we realized that now we need to have something which is called as a network centric operation. We were doing some network-centric operations in terms of the radars giving us the entire view of the, I'll say entire India, what all aircrafts are flying where are our AD assets, and what all precautions we need to take for those assets, and particularly the VAVPs, that is the vulnerable areas and the vulnerable points. But then we thought that might as well take it up that yes, we can now start transmitting data from a one fighter platform to the other fighter platform. Now, how this helps? This helps us in much ways, so that if I am a fighter, and just assume that there's another fighter which is flying with me in the aerial landscape, and I can see the particular enemy, I can see the target. Why? Because I'm much closer to that enemy, and that radar range, it is within the enemy target is also within my radar range, which is not in case of the other fighter. Now, what I can do is I can actually start relaying all this information to him in real time. Right. Now, what happens is, if that person or that fighter platform has the ammunition and wherewithal to kill that particular enemy target, which maybe possibly I don't have, then what I can do is I can just transmit all this data to that particular fighter, and then that particular fighter can aim and shoot at the target. Right. Sounds simple, but not really. So when we talk about that aerial platform, so everything has to be done in real time, because all these high speeds and particularly highly dynamic maneuvering platforms, they travel in Mach, right? A 1.5 Mach probably. And then the maneuvers also take in 4G, 5G, 6G sort of turns, right? So the dynamics is, I am picking up a target which is highly volatile, highly dynamic. I am myself highly dynamic. I am transmitting it to very, very highly dynamic, again, another platform, and everything has to be done in real time. Now, what if I just skip on a 2 or 3 seconds in this, then the entire scenario changes. So we had to actually design those algorithms, in which our Israeli friends also helped us to some extent, but we have to design those algorithms which were able to detect, identify, transmit, and then the action could take place in a very short span of time. Right? Interesting. I've told you the scenario for only 2 of us and 1 of them. What if there are more of them and more of us? So that's a network mesh that we want to make, right? And now if I am the particular shooter, and I have to get the coordinates for that particular target from multiple other sensors. So there's a sensor which is flying, there's a sensor which is on the ground, there's a sensor which is behind me, which is probably an AVAX, which is giving me a real-time picture. What do? I have to now combine all the sensor data, and then come up to a decision that whether this particular target is that particular target which we all are seeing, or there are probably 2 targets within the same area, within very, very short distance, that we want to see, and then whom to target. Right? It's so complex. But then the unit where I was last posted, it was a very, very highly dynamic unit, very, very competent with solving all these problems. And we actually made the indigenous version of a network-centric operation application. And I can't reveal much, but yes, we are in that space wherein most of our fighter platforms, if not today, then should be capable with this kind of technology in very near future. So we would be able to take on not even, it's just not about the appreciation of where I am, it is also the appreciation of where all my friends are with respect to whenever we are going for a strike, and then relaying all those data in real time, right? So we had a lot of challenges, we had a lot of brainstorming whether we should bring AI on board or not, and all those things. But then yes, where AI is currently happening is the story of drones. Operation Sindoor actually taught us that all those conventional war tactics, whenever we're going into an intensive battleground, is no more relevant, right? So probably we initially the operational tactics showed us that okay, there is a war initiation, which is probably followed by a strike package, and then there is a continuance wherein the war goes on, both the parties try to outpower each other, and then there's a culmination, right? But Operation Sindoor taught us that no, this is not required. Probably the drones can be the first line of action. Probably the drones can also be the continuance phase, and probably the culmination phase will be followed by something else, right? So now we can say that the first strike package could be our fighters, which can go strike, and then there could be kamikaze drones. So this particular image that I'm showing you is the kamikaze drone developed indigenously in India by NAL in Bangalore, right? So this is a self-destructing drone, launches from a platform. It has no wheels to land back, so it gets launched by a platform. So there's a launcher platform. Some of the kamikazes are even launched by hand. So that's a capability that we've developed. So you launch them, they will go sit on the target, hover around the target, and as soon as they find that sweet spot, they'll go and hit the target and then destroy themselves and the target also. Now, why this becomes very important is you would have experienced and heard also that this Russia and Ukraine war and the Israel and the Hamas situation, it is never ending. So it doesn't feel like end anytime soon, right? Why is this happening? Is because all these drones. So if I talk about one drone which could be a potential lethal weapon for me, it gets made in just 35 to 40,000 rupees. And this is where the Ukrainians just 5 to 6 months back, they did exactly the same thing. 30,000 drone, you put up some ammunition on the drone, make it fly to a certain point. So the endurance is also only of 10 minutes to 15 minutes. So what they did was they mounted all these drones on the truck, took the truck nearby to the airbase, and then launched the drones. Right, so endurance of 10 to 15 minutes, good enough for the drones. Have some AI capability on the drones. Let the drone see where the targets are. The drone quietly goes and sits onto the target, like the honeybee on the honey. And then, as soon as it is sure that it is landed up on the target, it's destroyed itself. Right, it destroys itself. It destroys the very potential aircrafts of the enemy. They destroyed the runways. They destroyed the tarmacs. Everything with these 35 to 40,000 drones, right? So this is where, so one of the speakers previously said Jugaad. So as soon as India learned about the power of drones, particularly in the space of aviation, particularly in the space of military warfare, I'd say, then we started all our things, and the amount of I'll say push by the government also, the encouragement by the government also, and the amount of innovation that is happening in the drone airspace is phenomenal. So I sitting at one place wherein we also take part in a lot of open challenges by the government. We also take part in a lot of research contributions to the government. I can just tell you that the amount of ask from both the Army and the Indian Air Force is for the drones, and the officers over there and the personnel in the defense forces are thinking to that extent when probably we are not able to think for, because they are experiencing that in front of them, and they're coming up with innovation. So they are coming up with innovative ideas that, okay, I want this to be happening on my drone. I want all these capabilities in my drones. In fact, I was astounded when the officer started talking that when I spoke them about we can develop some drones which can go inside and then probably do some scanning and all that. So the first question that the officer asked me is, what is the noise signature of this drone? Just imagine. So this is the capability that we are having, and this is where we are going in terms of the technology building, and this is where we are going in terms of gaining supremacy of the technology. So that's where I come to my chapter 2. Operation Sindoor taught us that yes, we are ahead in terms of the technology. We have the potency to destroy the enemy with all the wherewithal we have. But yes, there is some more way to go in terms of gaining that supremacy. So now that how this supremacy would come is probably something that we are already doing, is one space which is not AI but applied AI. So what AI does is, AI is foundational. You build up the neural network, you build up the models, you build up the algorithms. But then applied AI is post that. Whatever you've done with this AI, now you start applying that in various parts. So applied AI is now heavily getting into the I'll say the machines of the forces. One such project I had contributed on when I was in the Air Force was building up the prediction engine model for Sukhoi engines. So that is now being publicized by the Air Force as a very successful project, and it is now being deployed pan Air Force. This was what we did, and this was back. This story started back in 2018, where we started this inception that a lot of prediction, a lot of maintenance, I'll say, is happening just by the books. We are not predicting why this maintenance, if at all this maintenance should be done or not done. It is only happening by the books. So might as well go with that kind of a prediction algorithm. So that time just AI was just evolving in India, and 2018-19 we took up this challenge. 2022 we delivered a very robust algorithm and a solution to the Air Force, and this solution is now being used to detect the anomalies, detect the prediction, predict the remaining useful lives, predict the upcoming probably the failure modes for that particular engine. And that's where we are getting on into a much more I'll say spaces in the defense ecosystem with respect to applied AI. Second is a lot of people are now talking about digital twins. Now what happens is AI can still take you to a figure which is still probabilistic. So you have this probability of this engine being failed in the next sortie or not. You give out the probability that yes, I think that the remaining useful life of this particular engine is probably 10 more hours. Everything is probability. But what digital twin does now is digital twin brings in that extra added layer of going to some bit of from the probability zone to the I'll say definitive zone. So what digital twin is doing is basically it is replicating that physical model into a digital model, and that digital model is now exposed to the exactly same scenarios and the parameters which that physical model is undergoing. So in real time, you can get to know whether this engine has the capacity to take on this particular, or whether this ecosystem. So I've just taken the example of the engine, but then there is a lot of digital twinning that we are doing. We are doing it for the warehouses. We are doing it for the, I'll say, different ecosystems. In fact, I got in touch with some person who made a digital twin of the entire city. Just imagine if we can do that, if we can do the digital twinning of the air bases, if we can do the digital twinning of the scenarios, then we can get to know in real time what all resources to be deployed where, what all things can be our constraints, what all risks, we can actually simulate all the risk also in that digital twin. So this is one technology, if somebody is interested, then definitely should enter into this. And the third one, with all this data that we are accumulating and then we're trying to extract, and this gold mine that we're sitting on, there has to be a layer of cybersecurity, because what we are finding is we are just pushing ourselves in the space of data. We are pushing ourselves in the space of just getting to extract and then churn and then probably get some results out of that data. But then a lot of it is getting vulnerable because we are not taking care of the firewalls. We are not taking care of the guardrails. And we experienced this in Operation Sindoor to a very large extent, where there was a lot of attack attempts in the cyber zone, which was started even before the actual physical war started. And this is the future of any war, as far as my personal opinion is concerned, because wars henceforth will not be started with any physical damage being done to your infra. It will be always the digital damage being done to your infra, so that possibly the information or the damage that you would have done doing putting up a physical bomb is far less than what you can actually do the damage by getting sensitive information and the data. Just imagine if the adversary has all the plans that we are going to execute in the next 3 days for that particular war. We have already lost the war. Right? There's no point in flying all those drones, flying all those aircrafts, and no point in giving all those missiles over there. We've already lost the war. So this should be the prime most, I'll say, everybody is doing, concentrating towards AI. The thrust is all towards how to build applications in AI, how to apply AI everywhere. Nobody's thinking about cybersecurity, which is the major challenge. We've not yet proved that all the models that we build, or for that model, all the open source models, which are given by mostly the Metas and those DeepSeeks and the Teslas and the groups, all those models are safe enough to be deployed in an environment, particularly in a defense environment or not. We've not got to a point wherein any agency can confirm that there's no leak in this model. It's just the network packets that we're monitoring. But it's far more than that. If I have to corrupt any model, if I have to poison any model, it is very easy for me, and we've proved that. So we have to take this layer of cybersecurity very, very into our ecosystem. And finally, the third chapter is the startup ecosystem, wherein Operation Sindoor also taught us that for us to develop a very good technology or a very innovative technology requires us to take that risk. And that risk, I feel, is more taken by the startups now instead of the big giants, because the startup.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Wing Commander Rohan. I'd request you to kindly keep it short as we're running out of time,
It's
so that
just
we
one
can
minute I have to take
accommodate.
now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is just for my last minute. So this startup ecosystem taught us that yes, there's a lot of innovation that we can do, and since innovation requires a lot of upfront risk, so the government said that okay, part of the risk we'll take on, the part of the risk you take on. So part of the risk that the government takes on is giving the monetary benefits to the startups, and the part of risk that we take on as startups is probably building up a very rock solid product which can compete to the world players. So yeah, so there's a lot of learnings, as I said, from Operation Sindoor, and I hope that we take these learnings in a positive way, as I'm already seeing that, and then probably make this nation more powerful than it was ever before. Thank you. I've finished my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wing Commander Rohan, for sharing your first-hand experience with us. Also, so that gives us a lot of a good insight into the world of aerial defense. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We hope to host you here in our campus. Please do pay us a visit sometime.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all. Namaste and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our last talk of the session, and I'm honored to invite Dr. P.C. Deshmukh, who is a renowned academic and researcher in the field of atomic, molecular, and optical sciences, with over 3 decades of teaching and research experience, including a long association with IIT Madras. He has also contributed to institutions like IIT Mandi, Georgia State University, and RV University, where he serves as the RV Chair Professor. As the convener and mentor of the Center for Atomic, Molecular and Optical Sciences and Technologies, a collaborative initiative of IIT Tirupati and IISER Tirupati, he promotes interdisciplinary research and innovation. Dr. Deshmukh is the author of seminal textbooks such as Quantum Mechanics Formulation, Methodologies and Applications, and Foundations of Classical Mechanics. His research focuses on relativistic many-body studies and attosecond dynamics in atomic photoionization. Through his widely accessible online lectures, he has democratized advanced scientific education, inspiring countless students and researchers. We're delighted to have you here with us, sir. I request Dr. Deshmukh to deliver his talk on quantum technologies for national security.
Thank you very much. My sincere thanks and also deep admiration to IIT Jodhpur for organizing this very wonderful event. There have been such inspiring talks. I'm humbled because IIT Jodhpur itself has got some experts in the field of quantum technologies for national security, and some of them are here. You have the Manekshaw Center for Excellence for National Security, and we will be having a very exciting afternoon session as well on a workshop on this. Here you see pictures of the BrahMos, which has been talked about by Padma Shri Dr. Prahlad Ramarao. You also have a picture of Niels Bohr and Albert Einstein, who are the faces of quantum physics. And Einstein developed not only quantum physics, but also the theory of relativity. What I will be talking about is how all of this comes together for national security. Now, before I get into this topic, I will like to mention that I got interested in the issue of Jammu Kashmir 25 years ago. Such huge piece of land, which is our land, is still occupied by Pakistan and China. And I have been looking at the issue of Jammu and Kashmir as the unfinished freedom struggle. We still have enemy on our ground. More than 20 years ago, I had submitted a petition seeking abrogation of Article 370, and I have been very keenly associated with the Jammu Kashmir imbroglio for 25 years now. So the Operation Sindoor is, of course, very close to my heart. It is very close.
And earlier there, I had talked about some of the lessons from Operation Sindoor, or some of the lessons for Operation Sindoor. But today I will be talking about the quantum technologies for national security, which will involve a reflection of how quantum physics plays a role, and also the theory of relativity, not just the special theory of relativity, but also the general theory of relativity. Now, when you fire a bullet, by the time it hits a target, the Earth has rotated a little bit because it is completing a full rotation in 24 hours. So during its flight, the Earth has rotated and the target has shifted its position. So corrections have to be made, and a huge amount of technology goes into this. And imagine this happening when you are firing missiles, and we had such great talks coming directly from Dr. Prahlad Ramarao. When you fire a missile, for example, from the North Pole, by the time it hits a target on the equator, the point would have shifted by as much as 1,500 kilometers. And one has to make corrections for all of this when you are in a state of war. Now, it's a great honor to come on the stage sharing it with Dr. Prahlad Ramarao. He talked about the Akash missile and the BrahMos missile that our people have indigenously developed. And as he mentioned, it is a system of systems. You know, navigating these missiles, making sure that they go and hit the target, is a very complex technology which is based on foundational principles in physics. And one has to master all of this, and hats off to our engineers and scientists who have developed indigenous technology to handle all of this. This requires very high precision accelerometers and so on, which are there in the inertial navigation systems. But there also are satellite-based navigation systems. And BrahMos, for example, it uses not just the GPS, but also the Russian navigation system, and ISRO has built our own navigation system, which is the NAVIC. And all of these things, this is a system of 7 different satellites, and they communicate with each other. But mind you, the satellites are high up in the sky, they are themselves moving, and there has to be good synchronization between the clock on the satellite and the clock on the Earth, because the missile is here. Now, how is all this synchronization done? Dr. Rohan, Wing Commander Rohan, talked about all this networking happening dynamically as things are happening. So this is even a fraction of a second, would have the target at a different position altogether. So you need very high precision atomic clocks. And these atomic clocks have to be synchronized. So the BrahMos, for example, it is the world's most accurate missile system, the most accurate missile system. It is a lot better in its accuracy even than the Tomahawks which have been built in the US. It can hit a target within a meter. That is the kind of accuracy that BrahMos has. BrahMos is a compound name coming from Brahmaputra and the Moskva, which is a river in Russia. And this is a system which has been built in collaboration with Russia, which is why it is called as BrahMos. And it uses this navigation system. It involves very high technology, uses atomic clocks which have been developed by ISRO. And where the clock comes in is a measure of time, a second, for example. It is best defined in terms of natural phenomena. So these transitions, which you would have studied even in the high school, the spectrum of the hydrogen atom, for example, you have a certain frequency, and the inverse of that gives you the time. So these transitions are time standards. And all of you know this equation E equal to h nu, but I would like to tell the audience here that h is, although it is called as the Planck's constant, it gets its full meaning not just from the work of Planck, because Planck himself had great doubts about it. its meaning becomes clear only from the works of Einstein in 1905 when he used it to explain the photoelectric effect. But even later in the works of Satyendranath Bose when he quantized the electromagnetic radiation. And we, through the Indian Association of Physics Teachers, we have initiated a process to ask the International Union of Pure and Applied Physics to redesignate H not as the Planck's constant, but as the PEB constant for Planck-Einstein-Bose. And we have a few articles in which this has been recommended. Now, the atomic clock consists of certain transitions in what are known as hyperfine levels of various atoms. So cesium is used as a standard. There are secondary standards for which the rubidium clock is used, and this has been indigenously built by ISRO. But then there has to be communication between the atomic clock and the clocks on the ground. And what is very remarkable is that the speed of light, electromagnetic radiation travels at a speed of light which depends only on the properties of vacuum. It doesn't depend on anything else. And this is a very unique feature. And if speed being distance over time, if speed is constant, distance would change, so would time. And that is the time dilation and the Lorentz contraction in Einstein's theory of relativity. And corrections have to be made for this, because if you have a frame of reference which is moving, then there is time dilation which must be taken care of. And it is often, I like to exemplify this using the twin paradox, in which the traveling twin ages slower than the homebound twin. So this is the relationship which comes from the special theory of relativity, and the satellite there is moving at about 11,000 kilometers per hour, and the time difference between the clock on the satellite and the time on Earth is different. There is a difference of about 7 microseconds slower on Earth. So that has to be taken care of when you establish these signal communication synchronization. There is another effect, and this comes from the general theory of relativity. If you take a clock and just raise it by 2 centimeters, it is in a different gravitational field. And that makes it, tick at a different rate than the clock which is just on the surface of the table. Even a 2 centimeter difference is important. And here you have got a clock on a satellite which is at 36,000 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. So this contributes a difference of about 45 microseconds per day. And these two corrections have to be made, one from the special theory of relativity, the other from the general theory of relativity. And what it really means is that if you're taller, you really age faster. Essentially, it boils down to that your head ages faster than your feet. So these differences are actually measurable, and modern atomic clocks actually measure these things. So these corrections have to be made, and compensation for both the general theory of relativity and the special theory of relativity are involved in making these corrections. So there is a net correction of 38 microseconds per day, and that difference is taken into account when you have these missiles guided by satellites. So BrahMos, which uses all this satellite-based navigation, is equipped to handle all of this. Wing Commander Rohan talked about cybersecurity. And if messages are to be exchanged between Alice and Bob, between any two observers, and if you have somebody who intercepts it, okay? And this is where cybersecurity comes into the picture, and here again quantum technology comes and offers a solution. So earlier this security was handled through what is called as the RSA algorithm for Rivesh, Shamir and Adelman. And you need to secure communication. The information between any two parties, Alice and Bob are the typical names that we talk about. And it is based on very simple logic, which you would have studied in your Boolean algebra or truth tables. Using things like, XOR logic and so on, depending on, what kind of communication you're having. So you can have a color code, you have to convey some message about a color. And what you can do is you can have a certain key which is shared between Alice and Bob in advance. And using that key and using simple logic coming from something like the XOR table, XOR truth table, you can use this to figure out what the message was. Now the problem with this is that if the key is compromised, if somebody intercepts and if somebody has eavesdropped and finds out what the key is, then Alice and Bob have to come together once again to generate a new key. And to overcome this, the RSA algorithm is used, in which two keys are used. There is a public key and a private key. And this is the encryption which has been used for quite some time. And this was done all about 30 years ago, 1991, 92, so on. So I will not go into the mathematics of this encryption, which is the RSA encryption. So this has been in use for a long time, for many years, and all our security is based on that. And it would be a disaster if people can figure out how to break this security. So this RSA key depends heavily on factorization of large numbers into prime numbers. So I will not again go into the mathematics of how this is done, but it is very interesting. It is very complex. It depends on the difficulty of carrying out this factorization process. So these certain numbers were generated in 1991 using various machines, and then these machines were destroyed. The hard drive was destroyed, and these have been in use. So look at this number, for example. This was generated on March 18th, 1991. It is called RSA 100. But then it was factored using certain computers very soon, just a few weeks after it was proposed. And one can actually break the RSA security. Now there are other RSA numbers. RSA 240, for example, this was factored in 2019, 6 years ago. This has actually been factored. So what we are learning from this is that RSA security is not going to be sufficient. The RSA 768 has been factored, for example. It took a lot of computer time, almost equivalent to 2000 years of computing on a single core 2.2 gigahertz AMD machine. So that is the kind of challenge it poses, and which is why all the cybersecurity is, or banking or defense information and so on, are being guarded by this technology. RSA 2048, for example, it has got 617 decimal digits, and only a paper about a couple of months ago in May, which is there on the archive, there is a paper on how to factor this number with less than 1 million noisy qubits. So this number has not been factored as yet, but there is a threat to it that it can be factored sometime soon because of qubits, because of quantum computing. And as a matter of fact, this RSA 2048 will be deprecated by 2030, in another 5 years, and then in another 10 years it will not be allowed to be used because there is a threat from quantum computing. So how does this threat from quantum computing come? And this comes from physics. This comes from the laws of nature. And the laws of nature are very counterintuitive. They're very fascinating, and that's what quantum theory is about. And what it makes use of is the combination of 0 and 1, a superposition of 0 and 1, which is what gives you a qubit. And using quantum bits, one can develop algorithms. In particular, I'm referring to Shor's algorithm. Of course, there are other early algorithms, and we are very proud that Lav Kumar Grover, an Indian who studied at IIT Delhi, is one of the first contributors to quantum computing algorithms. But let me read out to you a part from Peter Shor's paper. What he says in this paper is that in quantum physics, an experiment behaves as if it proceeds down all possible paths simultaneously. A quantum computer behaves in much the same way. The computation proceeds down all possible paths at once, and each path has associated with it a complex amplitude. Now this word, this paragraph coming from Peter Shor's paper is just like coming out from Feynman's path integral approach, which is another formulation of quantum mechanics. What it tells is that if you have got multiple paths between the source and the detector, our mind thinks that, okay, it can only go one way. And that is how classical computation is done. It is either 0 or 1. The switch is either off or on. But quantum physics explains nature. This is not how nature behaves. Nature allows multiple paths to be, it not only allows, it actually requires multiple paths to be considered. If there is a path which bounces off from an obstacle in Mars or an obstacle on the Andromeda galaxy, it may take 25 million years to get there. Light may take that much time, but here you cannot be talking about what the momentum would be if you know the path, because position and momentum are not simultaneously compatible. So this is how laws of nature have to be interpreted, which is what quantum physics does. So this formulation is due to Feynman, following a suggestion by Paul Dirac, whose picture you see over here. And what makes quantum computing also secure is that you cannot duplicate it. There is a no copying theorem due to Wouters, Zurich, and Deeks. So if you have a superposition of two pictures, a Taj Mahal and a Qutub Minar, you get a copy of that when you use a copying machine. But you cannot copy a superposition. So that is the no copying superposition. So this is what makes quantum communication very secure. It makes it not just difficult, but it makes it impossible to crack it. So that is the technology of tomorrow, which is emerging here, and my compliments to IIT Jodhpur for undertaking these studies. I think we are going to hear more about it in the afternoon session. So Dr. Mrutyunjay is here, and I was very happy to meet Dr. Atul also, who was once my student at IIT Madras, but now I think I want to attend his course and learn from him. So I will stop here. I will only mention that the quantum key distribution has been tried in India. DRDO has developed it. They have developed it along with IIT Delhi. There are major advances made right here in IIT Jodhpur, about which we will hear perhaps in the afternoon. So I will stop here, but congratulate all these scientists and engineers in our country. Dr. Anil Prabhakar at IIT Madras has made very important contributions to quantum communication. India is one of the leaders now in this science and technology. It is a combination of science, engineering, and technology, and certainly China has made some very major advances, but the industry which has been founded by Sunil Gupta, Srinivas Rao, Mark Matthias, and Anil Prabhakar is one of the major leaders. one of the leaders in the whole world, not just India. So we are right there at the top. So I would like to thank all the organizers once again for a wonderful day here. We have heard Jai Bharat and Jai Hind. I will also like to add Vande Mataram. We are celebrating 150 years of Vande Mataram. Jai Hind. Thank you. I can take a few questions if you have, but otherwise I'm here for the rest of the day as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Deshmukh. I'd request you to stay on the stage, sir. And I'd request our director, Professor Avinash Kumar Agrawal, to kindly felicitate Professor Deshmukh with a memento as a token of our thanks. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, sir. Thank you, Professor Deshmukh. I'd request Professor Agrawal to felicitate Professor Uday Birje with a memento. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Agrawal to felicitate Sri Soundarajan, sir. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Agrawal to felicitate Sri Ravi Kumar Iyer ji.
Can you see this photo? Otherwise, I'll just explain. This is a Varaha photo. Varaha was the emblem of the royal families of Rajasthan. Here, the Varaha is carrying the earth, spherical earth. And here, the slogan given is, at that ancient time is, Bhugolaha Sarvato Vrittaha. You will say chapati is also circular, but it is circular only in one dimension. But from all angles, earth is circular, means it is spherical. But when you ask any student who said earth is round, invariably they will say Galileo. They will not know Varaha had said it thousands of years before Galileo. So I am presenting this too. So you can say in geography he is the first person to explore space and tell us that earth is round. So every student should know. So there is a college here, JIET. So every classroom, they have a huge photo of this Varaha carrying the earth and saying that he is the first scientist of the world. If you agree, then you give a great applause to the ancient rishis who had discovered earth is round.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Agrawal to felicitate Sri Vineet Vatsa ji.
Secutiry is also given by Rajasthan to the world. The first people who ever thought of showing Ramayana, Mahabharata through this act Katputli. It is very famous in Indonesia. It's called Wayang Kulit there, but all went from here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Shri Vineet Vatsaji. And I request Director Sir to felicitate Air Marshal Jagdish Chandraji. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Professor Agrawal. Thank you, sir. Yes. Yes. Okay. I request sir to kindly stay on stage. So Professor Uday and Shri Vineet Vatsaji would like to felicitate some members of our IIT Jodhpur community. Dr. Ankita Sharma, Dean Student Affairs.
This is an emblem for the world famous Battle of Haifa, where the Jodhpur Lancers, that is those who go on horses, they defeated the big Ottoman Empire.
Dr. Pranay Ranjan, Associate Dean. And Professor Mrityunjay Dodamani. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So with this, we conclude today's session, and we do so with deep pride and gratitude. To all our distinguished speakers and invited guests, thank you for your contribution. We're truly honored to host such a distinguished panel of speakers. We're thankful to the students, the faculty members, and the staff members who've been so patient and have joined us for this event. May we all carry forward the spirit of service, innovation, and nation building. For the future of Bharat is ours to build. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. I request all the dignitaries on. Okay. I request Colonel V.K. Rathore to kindly join us on stage. I request the audience to stay back. We'll have a group photograph. Now, I request all the dignitaries and the audience members to come near the stage so that we can have the group photograph. The audience, the dignitaries can be on the dais while the audience members can stay right in front of the stage.